Song Lizi gripped her phone tighter, tears streaming down her face. This time, I won't forgive him so easily. Hearing this, even Ho Xinshin found it hard to understand. Oh, my dear CC, Ho Xinshin sighed. Do you want me to tell you the truth? Song Lizi looked at her with tear-filled eyes. Ho Xinshin's heart softened at the sight, but she thought to herself that it was better to face a short, sharp pain than a long, dull ache. She decided to be blunt. CC, men are different from women. Once a man is heartbroken and disappointed, it's very difficult for him to turn back. Heartbroken? Disappointed? Song Lizi's eyes were vacant. Steeling herself, Ho Xinshin spoke more clearly. I've told you several times, if you really plan to be with him, you should treat him better. If you don't have that intention, then just reject him decisively and tell him to stop with the 99 confessions. 99 confessions, rejected every single time. And after each rejection, he still had to cheerfully prepare for the next one. CC, Ningbo Chao is a person too, and everyone has a breaking point. The other two roommates fell silent upon hearing Ho Xinshin's words. They had always just thought that Song Lizi was beautiful and Ningbo Chao was ordinary, so it was only natural for him to do anything for her. They even envied Song Lizi for having a simp like Ningbo Chao, who would come at her beck and call. Thinking back now, Song Lizi was nice to everyone else, but she was indeed quite cruel to Ningbo Chao. This must be what they call the favored have nothing to fear. But with the way Song Lizi treated Ningbo Chao, could he really love her without any resentment? After persevering through 99 confessions, could love still be what it once was? No, there's still one confession left. He still owes me one. Therefore, Ningbo Chao was just trying to control her. If she gave in first, he would control her for the rest of her life. Was there still one confession left? Suddenly, Ho Xinshin remembered something. CC, do you remember the 92nd confession? There was a concert on the athletic field, and you had agreed to go there to accept his confession. But for some reason, you got angry and went to eat hot pot with me instead. I still remember, as we were leaving the field, you received a message from Ningbo Chao, saying he liked you. He had never sent you a message saying he liked you before, right? I said at the time, this is bad. You left without a word and wouldn't answer his calls. He must have gotten angry, so he just sent a message to get the 92nd confession over with. You didn't think anything of it. CC, what if we count that time? If we count that one, hasn't Ningbo Chao already confessed 99 times? Song Lizi froze for a moment, then screamed, no, he wouldn't do that to me. There were some things Ho Xinshin hadn't wanted to say because she knew Song Lizi wouldn't want to hear them. If she said them, her relationship with Song Lizi might never be the same. But at this moment, as a friend, she wanted to tell Song Lizi the truth. If he likes you, of course he wouldn't treat you like that. But what if he doesn't like you anymore? CC, have you ever thought that maybe he's not throwing a tantrum, but it's just as he said, he doesn't like you anymore? Not at all. Song Lizi froze, as if her pressure points had been struck. After what felt like a long time, she suddenly burst into tears. No, it can't be. Tears and snot covered her face as she repeated those three words over and over. It can't be. It can be, Ho Xinshin thought. In fact, Song Lizi already understood. It can be. Song Lizi cried for a while longer. As she cried, she first kept repeating how much Ningbo Chao loved her, and then she started talking about their childhood. Ho Xinshin had heard some of these stories several times before. Because of this, she knew even better than Song Lizi that Ningbo Chao had long become a part of Song Lizi's life. His departure was as unacceptable to Song Lizi as having a part of her life cut away. If that was the case, why didn't she cherish this precious relationship sooner? What was the point of regretting it after it was lost? It wasn't until after 10 o'clock at night that Song Lizi's emotions finally stabilized a bit. Just then, another roommate secretly created a small group chat without Song Lizi and sent a few photos. Do you guys know Tang Xiaoxia, the freshman? She posted these on her moments. Ho Xinshin didn't know Tang Xiaoxia, but she clicked open one of the photos and she recognized more than half of the people in it. Wei Bai, Xiam Yuman, Zhou Yin, Shun Yue Yuan, Ningbo Chao, Shui Yunxin. Every face was smiling so happily, especially Ningbo Chao. In Ho Xinshin's memory, she had never seen him smile so happily. After telling Song Liusi he didn't like her, Ning Buochao went happily camping and having a barbecue with his friends. Ho Xinxin looked at the photo and realized that for Song Liusi, there was truly no turning back. Because Ning Buochao really, completely didn't like Song Liusi anymore. The other two roommates were chatting in the group. Don't you guys think Ning Buochao and Shui Yunxin are standing a little too close? I don't think so. Isn't Shui Yunxin linking arms with Tang Xiaoxia? It's obvious she's closer to Tang Xiaoxia. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Besides, how could Shui Yunxin ever compare to Cici? Exactly. If Ning Buochao passed over Cici for a girl like Shui Yunxin, he'd have to be blind. Ho Xinxin said nothing. She clicked through the photos one by one. In every single one, Ning Buochao's body was turned towards Shui Yunxin. In one photo, Ning Buochao was even making a V sign over Shui Yunxin's head. After liking a beautiful and delicate girl like Song Liusi, could he really fall for a girl like Shui Yunxin? No way. They were probably just buddies. Ho Xinxin had met Shui Yunxin before. With her personality, she could become buddies with anyone. But she had never heard of anyone having a crush on Shui Yunxin. Ning Buochao was even more out of the question. And yet, Ning Buochao's smile in the photos was so incredibly bright. Ho Xinxin looked at the oblivious Song Liusi and thought to herself, objectively speaking, isn't leaving Song Liusi a kind of liberation for Ning Buochao? Only students could truly understand the immense satisfaction of a big feast with friends after final exams. That night, everyone hung out until after 10 o'clock before breaking up. The group took taxis back to campus. Wei Bai, Xiam Yuman, Ning Buochao, and Shui Yunxin got in the same car. About half an hour later, Wei Bai and Xiam Yuman got out near their homes, and the rideshare continued towards High University. Now, only Ning Buochao and Shui Yunxin were left in the car, one in the front passenger seat and one in the back. Chower, are you going home tomorrow? Shui Yunxin asked casually. I leave on the 3rd, Ning Buochao replied. I bought the plane ticket in advance. I wasn't sure what day exams would end, so I left some buffer. Shui Yunxin. Plane tickets don't have student discounts, do they? Some airlines do, said Ning Buochao. I snagged a half-price ticket in advance, which is a better deal than the 25% discount on the high-speed rail. That's pretty good, Shui Yunxin said. I'm not going home. I'm just going to focus on work. Ning Buochao smiled. I'm just going home for a week, then I'll come back to work at the company too. Shui Yunxin was surprised. Is Sister Qian that much of a slave driver? No, Ning Buochao said, turning halfway around in the passenger seat to talk to her. I'm the one who wants to come back to work. Shui Yunxin, you've got a bright future, young man. As they spoke, the car arrived at High University. After they got out, they saw the other two cars had also arrived. Everyone poured out and swarmed onto campus. The two of them followed the crowd, continuing their conversation. Senior, are you going to the company tomorrow? Ning Buochao asked. Shui Yunxin, of course I go to the company every day. The day after tomorrow is the supernova finale. There's a ton to do tomorrow. Busy with exams lately, Ning Buochao hadn't paid much attention to supernova training camp. Now, hearing Shui Yunxin bring it up, he asked, Chun Mao will definitely debut, right? Shui Yunxin said proudly, his debut is a sure thing. What we're fighting for now is a top 3 spot. Ning Buochao, not fighting for first place? Shui Yunxin, let's not even think about that. Rong Xiao already has that on lock. Although Chun Mao was the contestant from Supernova Training Camp who had gained the most public recognition, he was still a rookie. He lacked stage experience, and his ability to attract fans was still a bit weaker than a powerhouse like Rong Xiao. Secure 3rd, fight for 2nd, Shui Yunxin said with a smile. Honestly, even if they gave the C position to Chun Mao, he wouldn't quite be able to handle it yet. Ning Buochao wasn't really interested in Supernova Training Camp, nor was he really interested in Chun Mao. He was only interested in Shui Yunxin. Chun Mao was Shui Yunxin's project, so he hoped Chun Mao would do well. The night after tomorrow, can we watch the finale together? Shui Yunxin, of course. The TV in the company conference room is huge and the internet is good. We could buy some fried chicken and beer and watch the finale together. Ning Buochao was overjoyed. Tonight had been too perfect. It almost felt unreal. After walking Shui Yunxin and the others back to their dorm, Ning Buiqiao, Zhou Yin, and Pan Kong also returned to theirs. After washing up, Zhou Yin and Pan Kong lay on their beds with their phones and started scrolling through videos. Ning Buiqiao was scrolling through his Moments feed. Shui Yanxin loved posting on her Moments, sometimes several times a day. He didn't necessarily reply to every post, but he always liked them. He refreshed the feed. Nothing new from Shui Yanxin, but posts from a few other friends appeared. Most of them had posted 9-photo grid, but the pictures they chose were slightly different. Ning Buiqiao carefully looked at each picture and then saved them all. Finally, his gaze rested on a particular photo. In this photo, his hand was making a V sign over Shui Yanxin's head. Looking at this V, Ning Buiqiao smiled. So he had been this close to Shui Yanxin tonight, and he had been smiling so happily. After saving all the photos, he finally saw the Moments post Shui Yanxin had published. There were no portraits, but there was a picture of all their shadows together and a photo of their glasses clinking. There was also a screenshot of Shui Yanxin's phone with only 3% battery left when she got back to the dorm, as well as the camping table full of delicious food and wine, the moon tonight, and a very cute-looking camping lantern. She never posted selfies on her Moments, but her posts were always so interesting. Ning Buiqiao liked this post, and then he published one of his own, a 9-picture grid with group photos and scenery. The caption read, "Stole everyone's pictures." Soon, he saw Shui Yanxin's like. Actually, he wasn't someone who liked to post on Moments very much, because life was too boring, there was nothing to post, and also because he felt that no one would pay attention to his life. But now, he would occasionally post something, because now, his life was not so boring, and also because he was starting to look forward to certain people's likes. Weibo gave Ning Buiqiao a like. Simp gave Ning Buiqiao a like. By the time they got home, washed up, lay down, and did what needed to be done, it was already 12 o'clock. After playing on their phones for a while longer, it was 12:30. June doesn't have 31 days. That is to say, after this night of barbecue, drinks, cake, and restless excitement, June was over. Along with it, Weibo's freshman year also came to an end. Time really flies. Regarding time, a famous author once wrote these sentences. When the swallows go, they will come again. When the willows wither, they will be green again. When the peach blossoms fade, they will bloom again. But you who are clever, tell me, why does our freshman year, once gone, never return? Weibo didn't actually want his freshman year to come back. He was just feeling a little emotional. Chapter 487, Tacit Understanding. How come it feels like we just finished the college entrance exam? The next morning, Weibo said, holding his classmate's Xie. The college entrance exam results should be out soon, right? Simp said. Weibo was still half asleep, but he woke up instantly upon hearing this. Whether the college entrance exam results were out or not was not important. What was important was that the high school entrance exam results should be out, right? He wondered if Chun Yao had gotten in a no. One high school. Weibo wanted to ask Shui Yanxin, but then he remembered he was going to the company today, so he could ask her in person. Time flies so fast. The Supernova training camp finale is tomorrow night. Weibo sighed again. Simp nodded. Chun Mao will definitely debut in a high position. Weibo, I was busy with exams for a while and didn't pay much attention to the training camp. I'll go to the company today and have a good chat with Brother Chui. Now that the exams were over, Simp didn't have much to do, so she went with Weibo to Mu Chao culture. With the sudden relaxation of their study schedule, both of their lives became much more irregular. The night before, they had played until after 10 o'clock before going home, and this morning they slept until 9 o'clock. They got up slowly and had a simple breakfast. By the time they took a taxi to the company, it was already 10 o'clock. When the two arrived at the company, they saw that Shui Yanxin and Ning Buiqiao had already arrived and were talking together. Weibo looked at Ning Buiqiao in surprise. You didn't go home? Just a couple of days ago, Chauer had said he would go home for a week before coming back to work. How did he suddenly appear at the company this morning? Ning Buiqiao smiled. I bought a ticket for the 3RD. Weibo, what a coincidence. I'm also on the 3RD. Shui Yanxin said happily. Boss, shall we watch the finale live together tomorrow night then? Watching Chun Mao's debut with colleagues from the company would be quite meaningful. Weibo decided to agree. Just then, he saw the expectant look in his Chauer's eyes. Weibo understood. Chower also wanted to watch the finale live with Shui Yunxin, and he wanted Weibo to agree so he could bring Chower along. So Weibo nodded. No problem. We'll buy some food and drinks, and whoever wants to come can come. Chower, as your brother, I've helped you this much. Isn't that loyal enough? Shui Yunxin nodded. I'll definitely come, and Chower will come too. Weibo, Excuse me, Senior Shui Yunxin, how did you know so quickly that Chower would come? Could it be that you two already agreed on it? In other words, Chower could have watched the live broadcast with you alone, but because I agreed, this has turned into a team-building event. So, that expectant look in Chower's eyes just now wasn't asking me to agree, but to refuse. What a painful misunderstanding. Weibo ignored Ning Buichao's disappointed expression, pretended that nothing had happened, and led his girlfriend into the conference room. We'll stand them up tomorrow. Weibo made his decision. Simp, are we creating a world just for the two of them? What if other people come? Weibo, then I'll just tell them not to. Just then, Simp received a new message on her phone. It was from Yuan. Yuan, Zhou Yin said Sister Yunxin is calling us to watch the Supernova finale livestream at the company tomorrow. Yuan, are you guys going to? Food and drinks are on me. Simp held up her phone for Weibo to see. Weibo, Sister Yunxin sure moves fast. Since it has come to this, a team-building event it is. Everyone is coming voluntarily. What could he do? The only thing he could do was to forget about it and throw himself into his creative work. The exams were finally over, and classmate Xie had time to create with him. He was now brimming with creative desire. Weibo sat at the piano. Simp picked up her guitar. The morning light fell softly on them. Harmonious notes began to dance. First came the soothing single notes of the piano, creating a peaceful and comfortable atmosphere. Then the progression began, with the guitar laying the foundation. We should need a drum beat here, Weibo said. Simp, do you want the emotion to build from slow and steady to a soaring passion? Weibo tried a few more notes. I want that feeling of suddenly rushing towards something. Suddenly rushing towards something? Simp immediately thought. Like in Sunset? Yes, the feeling Weibo couldn't quite describe suddenly took shape. It's rich in layers. The emotional progression has great tension, building layer by layer until it feels like everyone is rushing toward a sunset together. Simp tried strumming a few chords. The verse should be relatively steady. Main chord C, mid-tempo 4/4 time, with a strong narrative feel, she said softly. The chorus needs more tense chords, like G7, with a syncopated rhythm to enhance the emotional impact. Weibo's eyes lit up. In that case, we can use triplets for the instrumental break. Her small dimples appeared as she smiled deeply. You play freely. Shall we give it a try? Weibo's hands fell upon the piano keys. He thought, the lyrics for this song must be a set topic composition, because he had already thought of the song's title. The title was Tacit Understanding. Shui Yunxin sat in the spot closest to the studio, perking up her ears to listen to the melody for a few minutes, which eased the negative emotions from dealing with various difficult people. Ning Buichao was editing a video. The atmosphere at last night's camping barbecue was so good that Zhou Yin sang 3 songs in a row. Just as Weibo had said, Zhou Yin had a great sense of what works online. It was as if he was born knowing what song to sing in what situation to create the maximum atmosphere. While editing these 3 videos, Ning Buichao felt infected by Zhou Yan's reckless sense of youth. These 3 videos featured not only Zhou Yan, but also the rest of them as the backdrop. Ning Buichao blurred everyone's faces, but their faint outlines were still visible, and you could tell they were happy from their body language. Especially when Zhou Yan was singing Sunset, everyone turned on their phone flashlights and swayed from side to side. I am here, as the sunset arrives, gazing at the sun, as it dives into the deep sea. Though replaced by the night, it doesn't mean the light is gone. Your love lets me understand, beyond my sight, we are invisibly connected. While editing the video, Ning Buichao's eyes would unconsciously drift to the blurred image of Shui Yunxin on the screen. He saw that she was swaying with an especially wide arc and was also singing along loudly. Looking at the blurry face Shui Yunxin, Ning Buichao smiled unconsciously. After finishing one video, he looked over at Shui Yunxin, who had pulled up a chair and was working next to the studio. He glanced down at the time on his phone. It was already 12 o'clock. He looked up, wanted to call her downstairs for lunch. But just then, he saw her lift her head and turn around. "Chow, want to get some food?" Shui Yunxin asked naturally. Instantly, it was as if fireworks exploded in Ning Buqiao's heart. "Yeah." He stood up. "Aren't we waiting for Brother Bo and the others?" he asked. Shui Yunxin. "Who knows when those two will be done? We can't disturb them either." Shui Yunxin walked over. "I'm dead tired. I have to eat something good." Ning Buqiao looked at her. "What do you want to eat?" After saying that, he joked, "Golden arches?" At almost the same time, Shui Yunxin also laughed. "Golden arches?" As the word arches fell, the two looked at each other and smiled. Shui Yunxin, "Since we're on the same page, let's go with the golden arches. Long live the arches." At 12:30, Wei Bo and Simp ran into Ning Buqiao and Shui Yunxin at the golden arches. They had just arrived, while Ning and Shui had already finished eating. Wei Bo gave Ning Buqiao a teasing smile. Who knew Chao was such a man of action, moving so quickly and frequently? "We're heading back first," Ning Buqiao said to Wei Bo. Wei Bo smiled. "Go on, head back." Watching Ning Buqiao and Shui Yunxin each walk out of McDonald's holding a McFlurry, Wei Bai turned back and placed his order with classmate Xie. "I'll get the bacon Angus thick beef burger 4-piece set." "Classmate Xie, what do you want?" "Bacon double beef burger with vegetables and a taro pie." "All right, order placed." At this hour, the McDonald's wasn't too crowded. So even though the Angus burgers needed to be freshly grilled, Wei Bai didn't have to wait long. He went to pick up their lunch and brought it back to the table. "The company's location is still too remote," Wei Bai said between big bites of his beef burger. "And the space is too small. We might have to consider moving by the end of the year." Sia Mumu was eating the fries from her set. "I made him move to a bigger place." Wei Bai laughed. "How big is big enough?" Sia Mumu thought for a moment. "Aim for the industry's highest standard." Mu Chao culture, the little turtle, would slowly grow into a behemoth. So they should aim for properties that match the industry's highest standards. Wei Bai knew that this year, his copyright earnings alone were nearly 10 million. And besides his music division, Mu Chao culture also had other businesses like performance brokerage. So, even though it wasn't time for the annual report yet, Wei Bai was clear that Mu Chao's revenue was very substantial, enough to support moving to a larger space, recruiting more staff, and expanding. "I'll talk to Brother Chui later," Wei Bai said with a smile. "Let him handle the specifics." It had to be said, Chui Peng was just too professional and too useful. Wei Bai had hardly worried at all about Mu Chao's operational development. After finishing at McDonald's, Wei Bai also bought 2 McFlurries. He and classmate Xie each took one, eating as they walked back to the company. When they returned, they noticed some people napping and instinctively softened their footsteps, tiptoeing back to the studio. "Let's start work at 1:30, Wei Bai said. "Don't disturb their sleep." Sia Mumu took small bites of her Oreo McFlurry. Emichim. "Left side." Wei Bai looked at her and laughed. "There's a little on your left side." Classmate Xie loved ice cream very much, but she rarely got it on her face. So when Wei Bai saw this, he found it incredibly cute, especially when classmate Xie heard what he said. Her eyes widened, and she tried to fix it. That was even cuter. Sia Mumu was diligently trying to destroy the evidence on her face. She stuck out her tongue and licked to the left. "Is it gone?" "No," Wei Bai laughed. "Still there." Sia Mumu could tell he was amused. "Humph," she said. "Then you wipe it off for me." Wei Bai grinned. "Classmate Xie, you're the one who asked me to wipe it off." Sia Mumu. "MHM." Wei Bai paused, then suddenly leaned in, his tongue flicking out to lick it away, before quickly kissing classmate Xie's cool little mouth. Done. He retreated to his seat, speaking with a straight face. The whole sequence was so smooth that Sia Mumu was a bit caught off guard. But the sensation was real, and his suddenly enlarged face right in front of her was real too. She'd been licked and kissed. Sia Mumu decided she couldn't just let Wei Bai get away with taking advantage like that. She looked at her McFlurry, scooped up a spoonful, and abruptly shoved it into Wei Bai's mouth. Of course, she was very careless about it. So much so that the corners of Wei Bai's lips were smeared with ice cream. Xie Mumu was satisfied. She put her McFlurry down on the table, then cupped Wei Bai's face with both hands. My turn to help you. Huh. This beauty, are you doing it on purpose? Was there even any question? Of course it was on purpose. Classmate Xie's soft lips were already approaching. Slightly cool, very sweet. When it came to kissing, how could classmate Xie always take the lead? Wei Bai held her head and deepened a kiss. The flavors of Oreo and strawberry intertwined, blending into an exceptionally sweet taste. The summer breeze carried the sweetness, scattering it in the air, gradually spreading. Why is it so quiet in the studio? Shui Yunxin, who had been working for a while, suddenly realized this. Maybe they're resting, Ning Buqiao said, or it could be because there were people napping outside earlier. Shui Yunxin chuckled. Do you think they kissed during the breaks? Such a private matter. Ning Buqiao had no idea. Shui Yunxin, of course, didn't expect him to answer. She was just musing. When will such a sweet romance come my way? Ning Buqiao said seriously, it's not that you don't want to date, senior. If you wanted to, you could definitely start a relationship right away. Really? Shui Yunxin laughed. You Chaoer, I haven't spoiled you for nothing. You really have faith in me. If she could start dating just because she wanted to, would she still be single now? But thinking back, when she was a freshman, it wasn't like no one had pursued her. Back then, her mind was solely on earning money and saving for tuition and living expenses. How could she have had the mood for romance? Right now, my career is just starting. I have the desire, but not the time. She was this busy, she couldn't possibly have a boyfriend come to the company to keep her company every day. Could she? Forget it, forget it. It's better to find a younger guy after I've achieved financial freedom. As she was thinking this, she heard Ning Buqiao ask, Senior, are you planning on dating anytime soon? Shui Yunxin laughed heartily. Why? Do you have someone suitable you want to introduce to me? Someone like me. You shouldn't set someone up for a disaster. Ning Buqiao looked at her seriously. Senior, you're great. As a friend, I'm not too bad. Shui Yunxin thought, her self-awareness quite clear. But as a girlfriend, no way. Haven't you heard people say it? That Shui Yunxin only has eyes for money. Who would want a money grubber, a gold digger, as a girlfriend? Senior has a pursuit for money. Ning Buqiao remained very serious. But you're not a gold digger. Ha ha. Shui Yunxin laughed, even more happily. I'm pursuing money, and that's not considered gold digging. It's different, Ning Buqiao said. Senior earns money through her own efforts. The money you make is the result of your hard work and wisdom. But Senior is not someone who sees money as the only measure of value. Nor would you sacrifice your principles or even rely on others for money. TSK, this kid was speaking quite earnestly. Shui Yunxin examined herself for a moment. She thought she could lose her principles for money because she wasn't a person with many principles to begin with. Chaoer, you still don't understand your big sister, Shui Yunxin sighed. How can principles be as important as money? Ning Buqiao gave a shy smile. It's Senior who doesn't understand herself. His senior was clearly very pretty, yet she was always looking disheveled. From her freshman to junior year, she had done tutoring, run errands, and even written assignments for others. Her schedule was packed every day. But his senior had never thought about getting a rich boyfriend to spend his money. How could that be gold digging? Wealth created through her own physical and mental labor, by investing her own time and energy, was completely different from what everyone understood as gold digging. The topic didn't go any deeper, because Shui Yunxin took a work call and quickly threw herself into her work. Their conversations often came to an abrupt end like this. Ning Buqiao didn't feel the slightest bit uncomfortable. Instead, he also turned back to his work. He had finished editing the videos he had on hand and was now learning some new editing techniques. Sometime after 3 in the afternoon, Fei Wenxian came by. She was surprised to see Ning Buqiao there. She called him into the conference room for a chat that lasted about 10 minutes. When he came out, Ning Buqiao's head was spinning a little. Shui Yunxin asked him, "What did Sister Qian want with you?" Ning Buqiao replied, "She gave me a few benchmark accounts and told me to write an analysis of their editing." Shui Yunxin gave him a sympathetic look and patted his shoulder. "Keep it up. Sister Qian really is ruthless when it comes to training people, even giving homework to a part-timer. While Shui Yunxin sympathized with Ningbo Chao, she was also happy for him. Following Sister Qian, his growth would be much faster than following her. Once a person gets busy, time flies especially fast. 2 days passed in the blink of an eye. In these 2 days, Weibo had thrown himself into the world of music, co-creating a song with classmate Xie according to his own musical tastes. It was titled Tacit Understanding. The melody was already done, and he planned to write the arrangement and lyrics himself. There was no rush for this. He would finish it slowly when inspiration struck. Tonight, there was something more important, more exciting to do, and that was to watch the live finale of Supernova Training Camp. Previously, Shui Yunxin had suggested they watch the live broadcast together and had also invited Zhou Yin and Sun Xiuxiu. Sun Xiuxiu had already gone home for the holidays. Zhou Yin eagerly agreed, adding that he would bring his girlfriend along. So, in total, there were 6 people gathering at the company tonight to watch the live broadcast. Weibo, Xian Yuman, Zhou Yin, Shun Yueyuan, Shui Yunxin, and Ningbo Chao. The 6 of them were all old acquaintances. They had a simple dinner together in the evening and were waiting in the company conference room by a little after 7. Shen Yueyuan brought a large bag of snacks and beer, which filled the table. She had even prepared some balloons and flowers, decorating the conference room simply. At the head of the long table was a 75-inch large-screen TV on a movable stand. This was used for company meetings, mainly for displaying PPTs and playing Weibo's new songs. This was the first time it was being used as an actual TV. To be precise, it was being used as a screen. Weibo fiddled with it for a while, bought a subscription, and finally succeeded in casting Supernova Training Camp to the screen. At that moment, a countdown was playing on the screen. The finale hadn't officially started yet. As they were chatting, Shen Yueyuan's phone suddenly rang. She answered the call and said happily, "The fried chicken I ordered is here." A moment later, the fried chicken also arrived. Weibo looked at the food and drinks spread across the table and suddenly felt a little nervous. Their side was all set up, just waiting to cheer and celebrate for Chun Mao. He wondered how things were on Chun Mao's end. Was he nervous? Shui Yunxin was even more nervous than Wei Bai. She was Chun Mao's manager and shared a common interest with him. The more popular Chun Mao became, the more money she could make, and vice versa. Actually, she shouldn't have been here tonight. She should have been in Shuncheng at the final performance. But Brother Chui had taken her job and gone to Shuncheng, so she could only worry in Haicheng. "I wonder if Brother Chui has gotten in yet," Shui Yunxin said. "Gotten in?" Wei Bai was surprised. Brother Chui went to the live show. No wonder he hadn't seen Shui Peng for the past 2 days. Shui Yunxin said he's been there for more than half a month, discussing the profit distribution with Goose Factory after Chun Mao's debut. Although she was Chun Mao's manager, she didn't have the ability to handle such a major event independently, so Chui Peng had to go and negotiate in person. Hearing this, Shen Yueyuan was surprised and said, "Mr. Chui went to negotiate the contract in advance. Doesn't that mean the debut spot is already locked in?" Shui Yunxin said with a seasoned expression, "That's right. Some companies are willing to give Goose Factory a larger share of the profits to push their own artists for debut. Other companies feel that their artists are already popular and it's not cost-effective to debut with Goose Factory. They'd rather be eliminated at the cutoff and give the spot to Goose Factory in exchange for some resources." Shen Yueyuan said angrily, "It's all rigged." Shui Yunxin said, "Not all of it. As far as I know, of the 7 debut spots, only 3 are questionable." Shen Yueyuan's eyes lit up. "Which 3? Shui Yunxin named 3 names. Shen Yueyuan exclaimed, "Wow. Sister Yunxin, what else do you know? Tell me quickly." Those 2 top companies specifically target artists from smaller companies, even buying negative press to try and push them down to make way for their own artists, Shui Yunxin said with gusto as Shen Yueyuan listened intently. After the 3rd performance, a lot of negative press was bought about Chun Mao, spreading rumors that he was a gangster and a bully. Wei Bai was speechless. That wasn't exactly a rumor. After all, Chun Mao had really been a young gangster. However, Chui Peng had done an investigation before signing him. Chun Mao was truly spirited when he was a gangster and had been in real fights, but he had never bullied the weak. "I didn't even know about this," Wei Bai said. "How was it suppressed?" As soon as Brother Chui saw the tactics, He knew which company was behind it, Shui Yunxin said with a smile. He made one phone call, and the other party immediately took down the negative press. Shen Yueyuan blinked. Is Mr. Chui that powerful? Shui Yunxin said, no, it's because Brother Chui has been in the industry for 10 or 20 years and knows a lot of dirt on a lot of people. Brother Chui said that if he couldn't handle this small matter concerning Chen Mao, he would have wasted all these years in the business. Shen Yueyuan exclaimed, wow. Wei Bai also wanted to exclaim, wow. With Brother Chui at Macao Culture, they were truly remarkable. The finals are very competitive, but ultimately it still comes down to fan voting, Shui Yunxin said. Our fan voting is stable in the top 3. It all depends on tonight's fighting power. Wei Bai suddenly remembered something. Are Chun Yao's middle school entrance exam results out yet? Shui Yunxin smiled and said they're out. She ranked 10th in the city. Brother Chui said to wait until after Chun Mao debuts tonight to release the press release. Wei Bai smiled and teased. Do second and third place count as the top? Shui Yunxin said, of course they do. In a few years, when Chun Mao is a huge star, who will remember whether he was first or second in the talent show? Wei Bai agreed. This talent show is just the starting point for Chun Mao. In fact, Wei Bai and Chun Mao had only met a few times, and his first impression wasn't very good. He shouldn't have been so concerned about a competition. But from a professional standpoint, this was a tough battle for Macao Culture to make a name for itself and earn money. If Chun Mao successfully debuted in a high position, the economic value he would bring to Macao Culture wouldn't be in the millions or tens of millions, but in the hundreds of millions or even billions. Personally, he liked narratives about changing one's destiny and hoped that Chun Mao could have a brand new, bright future. Thinking back to the school bell singer Only Loves Me and that dream, it truly felt like a dream now. But many of the characters in the dream were real, writing completely different life stories. Some things, like fate, were indeed inexplicable. But Wei Bai thought that everyone had the right to be the master of their own destiny. So Chen Mao, go for it. Tonight, I'm waiting for you to reach the top. Xincheng. The stage hadn't started yet, but the lights were shining on the noisy stadium, and fans from all sides were ready to go. Chui Peng sat in the seat reserved for him by the production team, took a picture of the scene behind him, and sent it to the Macao Culture Workgroup chat. Thousands of kilometers away in Haicheng, Wei Bai opened the photo to look. It was densely packed with people, and almost everyone was holding an unlit light-up sign. Chui Peng, just wait, the scene tonight will definitely be a sea of red. Red was Chun Mao's support color. The more red light-up signs there were, the more Chun Mao fans were at the venue. What color is Rong Zhao's support color? Wei Bo asked Shui Yunxin. Shui Yunxin, blue. Wei Bo, blue is good. Blue isn't as eye-catching as red. Shui Yunxin laughed out loud. This was precisely why she had guided the fans to set the support color to red back then. Red is so conspicuous. Wei Bo sent a message in the group chat, waiting for Brother Chui to come back and celebrate. Chui Peng, President Wei's treat? Wei Bo, my treat it has to be. At the venue, Chui Peng looked at his phone screen, where his colleagues were chattering away in discussion. He then looked towards the stage, which glittered like a river of stars. Having been in this business for so long and having launched countless stars, he had long lost that initial rush of excitement. But today, he seemed to feel that sensation once again. Why? Perhaps because of hope. He was once a top-tier manager in the industry, but he was still just a manager. It was only after coming to Macao Culture that he truly had a career of his own, experiencing the difference between working for someone and building a business. This was also the reason he wanted to come and watch the talent show live tonight. At this moment, he was just like Chun Mao waiting backstage. Nervous, apprehensive, yet full of hope. Tonight, as long as Chun Mao successfully debuted with a high rank, Tencent's film, fashion, and variety show resources would all come flooding in. And he, Chui Peng, 1 year after leaving Huan Entertainment, would finally lead Macao Culture to fight their way back into the big leagues. 8 o'clock, the final competition began. For the opening show, all 101 boys returned to the stage, dancing to the theme song together. Then came the mentors' appearances, guest performances, and the show was hosted by a top-tier artist and a professional host from the industry. The third segment was the final performance. The 14 contestants were divided into two groups for a song and dance performance. The C position of one group was the monster singer and dancer, Rong Xiao. The C position of the other group was this year's hottest newcomer in the industry, Chun Mao. It had been a long time since Chui Peng had seen Chun Mao. Seeing him again now, he felt like he almost couldn't recognize him. His hair was a bit longer, dyed a dazzling red by the stylist, with strands arranged in a way that was both casual and layered, perfectly blending with his temperament, full of power and an untamable spirit. The moment he appeared, a huge wave of supportive cheers erupted from the audience, as if it would overturn the entire stadium. The light-up signs were held high by the fans, forming a connected sea of light. Amidst the cheers, lights converged from all directions. The performance of Chun Mao's group began. The music started, the drumbeat intense, and every dance move was synchronized, precise, and powerful. The first line was sung by Chun Mao. On a live mic, it was like a sharp sword piercing the night sky, kicking off the first high point of the evening. Chui Peng's heart pounded as he listened. There were many in boy bands who could dance, but few who could remain so stable while singing and dancing. This Chun Mao was really making him proud. For a moment, Chui Peng's eyes couldn't see the other 6 people at all, only Chun Mao. Even though among the other 6, there were some who could sing decently and others who could dance even better. But stage presence was just that mystical. Chui Peng grew excited. No matter the result tonight, Chun Mao's momentum was set. He was destined to become a superstar. The music stopped, the performance ended. In the final pose, Chun Mao was not standing in the C position, but he was still the undisputed visual center. Chui Peng joined the fans, shouting the support slogans loudly. Walking together, never apart. Chun Mao is forever the one and only. Chen's voice lingers, a beautiful sound. Mao's brilliance shines, radiant and profound. Chui Peng shouted until his throat was raw, only quieting down when Rong Xiao's group came on stage. That punk actually dyed his hair blue. What a show-off, he thought. So what if he learned street dance since he was a kid and trained in South Korea for a few years? If Chun Mao had those conditions, he would have become a megastar long ago. Besides, Chun Mao is all natural. Who knows how many times Rong Xiao has had work done on his face? It's bound to collapse in the future. Chui Peng viciously badmouthed Rong Xiao in his mind. There was no other reason for it, except that he knew, all things considered, Tencent had internally decided on Rong Xiao for the C position. In other words, even if Chun Mao's fan votes got him to first place tonight, his votes would be suppressed. Of course, Chui Peng knew that Chun Mao's fans couldn't get to first place anyway, because Rong Xiao's side had many professional fans, and their ability to organize voting was extremely strong. It wasn't like Chun Mao's side, where the fandom hadn't fully formed yet, and the vote count relied heavily on individual fans and the general public. Rong Xiao's group began their performance. The dancing, the vocals, there was nothing to fault. Chui Peng watched closely, and finally concluded that Rong Xiao's stage presence was inferior to Chun Mao's, and his facial expression management was a bit greasy. The performance ended. The venue began to play a retrospective video of the 14 contestants' journey through the competition, and the contestants began to rally for votes. Chui Peng watched quite seriously, almost moved to tears by Tencent's editing. The vote rallying segment was a bit boring. The contestants started shouting slogans, playing the sympathy card, and saying things that deeply moved their fans. In Chui Peng's eyes, those words were all just ploys to get him to spend money, and not even very good ones at that, until the host suddenly announced a surprise segment, a video call allowing each contestant to connect with the person they most wanted to talk to. Chui Peng immediately sat up straight. This segment wasn't in the schedule he had received beforehand. Was Goose Factory really playing for such high stakes? Weren't they afraid of losing control? Then he calmed down. He wasn't sure if others might screw it up, but Chun Mao definitely wouldn't go off the rails, because there were very few people Chun Mao could call. It was either Chun Yao or the company. If he called Chun Yao, it would undoubtedly be another climax of the night. If he called the company, Chui Peng opened his phone's camera to check his own reflection. Good, quite refined and handsome, no problem there. The order of the calls was based on the performance rankings, from lowest to highest. Chun Mao's ranking was first, so he would be the last to make a call. Before Chen Mao was Rong Xiao. He called his good friend, the popular idol star Bian Yuanbai. The other party happened to be at home watching his live stream and even pointed his camera at the TV screen to show it, before speaking very earnestly about Rong Xiao's difficult journey and hoping everyone would support him. Chui Peng cursed Goose Factory for their cunning. Just because they hadn't informed him about the surprise call segment didn't mean they hadn't informed their chosen one. Looking at Bian Yuanbai's appearance and posture, they had absolutely coordinated in advance, using this to stir up Bian Yuanbai's fans to vote for Rong Xiao, the devious goose. While cursing Goose Factory internally, Chui Peng mentally drafted a speech for the potential call. He had it all figured out. When the time came, he would point the camera at Chen Mao's fans in the audience and say that the people Chen Mao truly wanted to connect with were his fans right here. With a countermeasure in mind, Chui Peng felt a bit more at ease. At that moment, Chen Mao had already taken the microphone. Host, Chen Mao, who is the person you most want to connect with? Chen Mao gripped the microphone, his voice firm. I want to call my boss. In the audience, Chui Peng was already starting to fix his hair. On stage, Chen Mao initiated the video call. His video call interface was projected onto the big screen, with both his and the recipient's avatars pixelated in real time. At this moment, Chui Peng looked at his own phone. Why isn't there any notification? Is the network bad? Huh. On the TV screen, the host and Chen Mao were looking expectantly at the large screen on stage. In front of his own TV screen, Wei Bo was looking down at his phone. Chen Mao is starting a video call with you. Why did he call me? He had assumed Chen Mao would call Brother Chui. Holy shit. Holy shit. Chen Mao is calling you. Zhou Yin shouted. Answer it. Yuan, do I look handsome right now? Good thing I washed my hair this morning. Shui Yinxin was even more anxious than Zhou Yin. Bro, hurry up and answer. If Wei Bo didn't answer, she couldn't even imagine how terrible Chen Mao would feel on stage. Wei Bo turned his head to look at Simp. Her small dimples appeared as she gave a slight nod. Wei Bo quickly pressed the answer button. Shenzhen Sports Stadium. A handsome face suddenly appeared on the big screen. Next to that handsome face were several other handsome or beautiful faces. Among them was one face, completely without makeup, with long, straight black hair, a beauty so otherworldly that it made everyone in the audience gasp. Even the host, who had seen his fair share of beautiful women, was stunned for a moment by the girl on the screen. He forgot the original script and asked involuntarily, Chen Mao, who is this beautiful lady? Chen Mao was silent for a few seconds before answering seriously, the boss's wife. As soon as he said that, on the big screen, the Ice Queen-like girl suddenly smiled. Her smile revealed two deep dimples, and her eyes sparkled like a river of stars. A collective wow echoed through the venue, as fans of all contestants, for a moment so unified and harmonious, were captivated by the beauty on the screen. Fortunately, the host was professional enough to quickly get back on track. If this is the boss's wife, then who is your boss? Chen Mao looked up at the big screen. On the screen, Wei Bo, holding the phone, smiled and said, That would be me. The host was surprised. I never expected the boss of Mu Chao culture to be so young. This was way too young, right? Was he even 20? It seemed like another rich second-generation kid experiencing life. The host then handed the floor over to Chen Mao and the big screen. From the moment the call connected, Chen Mao had been somewhat silent. He hadn't expected Wei Bo to be watching his live stream, and for the company's conference room to be decorated with flowers and balloons. There was even a banner with the slogan, Chen Mao, fly bravely. Your fans will always be with you. Wei Bo, Simp, Sister Yinxin, and a few others he didn't recognize had gathered together just to watch his live stream tonight. Chen Mao stared at the side screen, then suddenly turned his back to the audience and tilted his head up. The audience, all the different fan groups, were shocked. Chen Mao was crying. Chen Mao was actually crying. During the 1 or 2 months of closed training and public performances, all 13 idols present had shed tears, all except for Chen Mao. For this very reason, fans had a saying that Chen Mao would bleed, but never cry. But now, at the live finale, Chen Mao was actually crying. Why? Because of that ridiculously young boss. Chen Mao's crying caught Wei Bo somewhat off guard. Hey, don't cry. The competition is almost over. You can rest once it's done. Hearing this, Chen Mao broke into a smile through his tears. He wiped the tears from his face and faced the audience and a large screen to his side once more. He raised a microphone in his hand, but didn't know what to say. He had known of Wei Bo for a long time, through Zheng Hongshuan's words. But he wasn't familiar with Wei Bo at all. This was even their first time speaking. He didn't know what to say. But when the host said he was going to connect a call to one person, no one else came to his mind. Because he wanted Wei Bo to see that he was really, as Wei Bo had said, standing on stage and shining. He wanted to prove that Wei Bo hadn't chosen the wrong person. Chen Mao had done it. But the moment he thought this, he wanted to cry again. What appeared in his mind wasn't the good life of having money and a house in the future, but that one morning. The morning he was laying bricks at a construction site, and Wei Bo came looking for him with a book and a signed blessing for Chen Yao. That morning had changed his life, and Chen Yao's life as well. Brother Bo, Chen Mao addressed Wei Bo the way Wei Bo's friends did. They dyed my hair red. Wei Bo was taken aback. What's wrong with red hair? This red hair looks great, a perfect match for Chen Mao's current aura. But then he suddenly remembered that Chen Mao's previously messy hair had also been red, with some faded yellow strands mixed in. So Wei Bo smiled. It's very handsome. A brand new kind of handsome. Chen Mao self-consciously touched the top of his head. It's different from that kind of red hair from before. Wei Bo didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Perhaps this was also why the fans loved Chen Mao. This guy really didn't put on an act at all. However, the video call was limited to 5 minutes. If Chen Mao kept going like this, they would run out of time. Wei Bo quickly changed the subject. Don't overthink it. Just give it your all, so you have no regrets. Chen Mao's voice was a little choked up. Brother Bo, I'm actually quite scared. I don't know why I got so popular all of a sudden. Whenever I have a free moment, I get scared. Scared I won't perform well, and people won't like me anymore. Scared I won't be able to repay the company, that I'll let you down. But standing here today, with so many people here for me, I hear them shouting my name, and I just think I have to stand here. I never want to go back to being a gatekeeper or laying bricks again. Wei Bo looked earnestly at Chen Mao on the stage. Chen Mao, you must watch the replay of today's performance. You were fantastic. You were born for the stage. You've earned yourself an incredibly bright future. You'll never, ever have to go back to laying bricks again. Go Chen Mao. Shui Yunxin, Zhou Yin, and the others joined in, shouting, Go Chen Mao. You look super handsome today. You're amazing. You deserve it. You're worthy. The call ended. Chen Mao bowed deeply toward the screen. Then he bowed deeply toward the audience. Below the stage and online, the fans were already moved to tears. My heart aches for him. Tonight, we must give Chen Mao a sense of security. Let's go, sisters. Let's get him the C position. Chen Mao deserves it. Don't cry, sweetie Chen Mao. Your big sisters are here to protect you. There was also a large number of casual viewers who were more interested in Chen Mao's young, handsome boss and his unbelievably beautiful girlfriend. Young, handsome, rich, and with such a beautiful girlfriend. My God, what window could God have possibly closed for him? A couple with perfect looks. And when Brother Bai was speaking, his girlfriend was watching him with such a loving gaze. No wonder Chen Mao always says he's not good looking. His company's boss is so handsome, and the boss's lady is so beautiful. You can't blame him for his low self-esteem. Praying for a boss as handsome and approachable as him. Praying I'll be born to look like that dimpled goddess in my next life. The goddess is too beautiful. For her sake, I'll toss a vote to Chen Mao. +1. I'm telling my whole family to toss him a vote. Netizens flooded the live stream's bullet comments, and the trending topics on Weibo were constantly updating. Hashtag Chen Red Hair, hashtag Chen Mao cried, hashtag Chen Mao's boss, hashtag Chen Mao's boss lady, hashtag Chen say that are different from the old red hair, hashtag. Chui Peng clicked into each one to take a look. Not a single one was bought by their company, although he was a little disappointed that Chen Mao hadn't called him. Seeing the screen full of trending topics related to Chen Mao now, Chui Peng's grin stretched from ear to ear. Connecting with Wei Bo was a good thing. It got them so many free trending spots. How much publicity money did this save? On both sides of the stage, 2 giant screens displayed the real-time vote counts for the 14 contestants. Visibly, Chen Mao's vote count was about to surpass Rong Zhao's. Chui Peng clenched his fists. If the vote count surpassed by too much, he might change their strategy and make Chun Mao the center. Even if they didn't change their strategy, knowing Yi's money-grubbing nature, they would definitely throw more resources at Chun Mao. As far as Cui Ping knew, several contestants who had already signed non-debut agreements had each received resource compensation. One of them, who had good natural potential, even directly landed the male lead in an A-list drama. Not debuting didn't mean being abandoned. As a corporation, as long as there was money to be made, it wouldn't let even the smallest opportunity slip by. The more value Chun Mao showed tonight, the more resources he would get in the future. Even if he couldn't secure the C position, his resources wouldn't necessarily be less than Rong Zhao's. Cui Peng had been in the industry for so long, and from his perspective, Chun Mao was young, malleable, and his future could be described as limitless. On the big screens, the vote counts were neck and neck. The host tone also grew more and more excited. There were only 10 minutes left until the voting deadline. Rong Zhao temporarily held first place. But Chun Mao's vote count had slowed to a crawl. Cui Peng knew at a glance that this was Yi factory at work and could only grit his teeth in anger. On stage, however, Chun Mao was completely unaware of this. At that moment, the 14 contestants were performing their individual talents. Everyone brought out their best skills. The dance group chose the most difficult and explosive routines, while the vocal group chose the genres that suited them best. Rong Zhao, in the dance group, showed off his skills to the extreme in his 3-minute performance, incorporating popping, swag, walking, and voguing. Chun Mao, in the vocal group, challenged A Song with No Name, the most popular song from Muqiao culture. He sang the love song with such tenderness and affection that Cui Peng felt even more confident. After tonight, Yi Factory would definitely want to renegotiate Chun Mao's career plan with him. When that time came, he had to secure a music variety show for Chun Mao first. On stage, the host was emphasizing that the voting channels were about to close. Soon. They're not closed yet. You can still vote. The host technique even made Cui Peng nervous. A dozen or so seconds later, the channels closed. Whoosh! The lights across the entire venue changed. The host and the mentors began to announce the rankings together, starting from 7th place. When the host called out that name, the contestant on stage was stunned, clearly not having expected to debut. Cui Peng was also happy for this contestant. Aside from the 3 sons of Yi, the other 4 debut spots were truly won through fans spending real money to vote. This contestant's fans had made a final push at the last moment, which led to his unexpected debut. This was what made tonight so tense. Anyone could make a comeback against the odds, and anyone could be kicked out of a debut spot. One by one, the names were read out. As the remaining spots dwindled, some contestants cried even harder, because they knew their chance was gone, until only the 1st and 2nd places were left unannounced. Cui Peng saw that kid, Chun Mao, on stage, pursing his lips and staring stubbornly ahead. The giant screen projected Chun Mao's face. His gaze was as resolute as if he were heading into battle. Cui Peng sighed inwardly. Although he also hoped Chun Mao could win first place and stand in the center position of this new group. But the producer of Training Camp was preparing to announce the name for 2nd place. Cui Peng clenched his fists. 2nd place, Chun Mao. Cui Peng's clenched fist went limp. Sigh, the resource-favored one. Sigh, the connections. Sigh, the capital. Cui Peng had known the result all along, but he still felt a pang in his heart. Just then, he saw Chun Mao jump up in excitement, shouting several times, "I debuted! I debuted!" Chun Mao was so happy that even the other contestants were stunned. Wait, what's there to be so happy about debuting? You were a strong contender for the C position. The Training Camp producer was also surprised by Chun Mao's reaction. He handed the microphone to Chun Mao and asked him to give his debut speech. Chun Mao held the microphone, his voice trembling. When I heard there were only 2 spots left, I thought I wasn't going to make it. Doesn't that kind of thing happen? A dark horse suddenly appears. But no matter what, I debuted. Now that I've debuted, I can make money. Xingyao, did you see that? Your big brother debuted. Thank you to my fans. Thank you to my company. Without you, Chun Mao would still be laying bricks at a construction site. I don't know what to say. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Compared to other idols who always talked about their dreams, Chun Mao's speeches were always very blunt. He said he signed on as an artist because he was too poor and that he could now make money because he had debuted. But no one laughed at him. In the audience, his fans were crying their eyes out. Chun Mao, we're so sorry. We couldn't get you the center position. Boo-hoo-hoo. Chun Mao, you deserve it. You're going to be a huge star. I should be the one thanking you, Chun Mao. Thank you for showing me the meaning of perseverance. Front row. Shui Peng had mixed feelings. Before the second place was announced, he thought Chun Mao's stubborn expression was because he wanted to fight for first. He never expected that Chun Mao was actually afraid he wouldn't make the debut team. Thinking about it, it made sense. For a kid like Chun Mao with no background and no family connections, it was normal to feel insecure. However, after tonight, everything would be different. Chun Mao walked happily to the second place position, hugging the debuted members one by one. Some here were on good terms with him, others had mocked him. But he didn't care. All he knew was that he had debuted. He was famous, and he was number 2. When she sent him here, Sister Yin Xin was worried they would be eliminated in the first round. But he got second place. A year ago, how could he have ever imagined this day? The recent video call with Wei Bai and his words of encouragement surfaced in his mind. Chun Mao thought to himself, "Boss, I've debuted. I can make money for the company now. I'll make money for the company for the rest of my life." Chun Mao's reaction eased the tense atmosphere at the venue. There was no suspense for first place. Rong Zhao's final speech was comprehensive and flawless. Compared to Chun Mao, he was already a very mature artist. After his speech, he slowly walked to his position, embracing his teammates. The first one he hugged was Chun Mao, and he whispered, "Respect." Chun Mao didn't know much English, but respect was one of the words he knew. He grinned foolishly and said, "Let's make big money together from now on." Rong Zhao. On the big screen, the dust had settled. The talent show that had captivated the nation and burned through the summer officially came to a close. Some stories end here. Other stories will begin from here. From this day on, Chun Mao truly became a star. From now on, he was bound to have many wonderful stories, a different kind of life. The show was over. Wei Bai turned off the TV screen. Then he opened a can of beer and clinked it against his lovers and friends. A toast to Chun Mao's triumph, to a bright future. Congratulations, Chun Mao. Congratulations to my brother Bai. Congratulations to Mu Chao culture. And congratulations to me, Shui Yunxin. Ha, bottoms up, bottoms up. Gulp, gulp, gulp. Qingdao beer is still the best, Wei Bai sighed. Zhou Yin, you have to go to Qingdao and drink the fresh draft beer that comes in plastic bags and bottles. That's the real good stuff. Wei Bai, really? Then I definitely have to go try it. The group finished the last can of beer with their duck necks. Brother Bai, send me to the talent show next year, Zhou Yin said, energized by the alcohol. I think I can debut too. Wei Bai remembered he had already discussed this with Zhou Yin. Idol stars can't be in a relationship before they transition their careers, he said calmly. Zhou Yin acted as if he was hearing this for the first time, showing immense surprise. Holy crap, then I can't be an idol. Shen Yuan rolled her eyes at him. You're lazy and greedy. How could you possibly be an idol? Zhou Yin tissed twice. That's true, haha. He was indeed quite lazy and greedy, but most importantly, he couldn't live without his Yuan. Xiao Ying Loves Cherries was a die-hard fan of Chun Mao, paying close attention to everything about him. Tonight, Chun Mao debuted in a high rank, and the girls in her fan group were all celebrating. Xiao Ying Loves Cherries was also ecstatic, although like all Mao fans, she had hoped Chun Mao would stand in the center position. But Rong Zhao as the center was acceptable. Rong Zhao had a big brother personality and would definitely take care of Chun Mao and the other younger members. After the wild celebration ended, Xiao Ying Loves Cherries didn't go to sleep. Instead, she was scrolling through everything related to Chun Mao on Weibo and Douyin. As she was scrolling, a comment under a certain Weibo post caught her attention. A high university student is shocked. I can't believe Wei Bai is Chun Mao's boss. High university? Haiqing University? Wei Bai was from Haiqing University. Xiao Ying Loves Cherries clicked on the person's profile to check. The person wasn't a fan of any celebrity. Their profile was mostly filled with daily life posts. Occasionally, they would repost some giveaways from the official High University account. Shouting loves cherries scrolled through and suddenly saw one of the reposts. The repost was a video from High University, and the caption read, "Is Wei Bai the youngest distinguished alumnus in High University's history? Awesome." From his caption, Shouting loves cherries quickly caught the name Wei Bai. Out of curiosity, she clicked on the video. A dozen or so minutes later, Chun Mao fan group. Shouting loves cherries. Sisters, I know who Chun Mao's boss is. Shouting loves cherries. Forwards the official High University Weibo post. Alumni story. Shouting loves cherries. Wei Bai, a freshman at Haiching University. Suddenly, the group chat exploded. A freshman at High University? Brain-computer interface? Why don't I understand any of this? I went and checked Mu Chao Culture shareholders, and it's him, Wei Bai. Holy crap, the partner of Jiang Xiang from that huge scandal a while ago. So young and successful. I can't believe Mu Chao Culture is just his side business. Any sisters from High University here? Wei Bai must be really famous there, right? The discussion in the group was incredibly heated. This screenshot of the conversation was rapidly spread to Group 1, Group 2, Group 3. At 1 in the morning, a member of Group 3 dropped a bombshell. Very famous. His girlfriend is even more famous. She's our university's campus belle. Her last name is Xie. This single sentence blew up the chat, waking countless fans who were still up in the middle of the night. His girlfriend would be the campus belle at my university too. She'd be the city belle in my city. She'd be the national belle in our country. Is he really Jiang Xiang's partner? Holy crap, that's terrifying. At 1:30 in the morning, the admin of Group 3 suddenly appeared and made a statement. Sisters, please focus on Chun Mao. Don't pay attention to irrelevant people. At that, some people immediately chimed in to agree. Yeah, don't disturb a private citizen. I've searched the entire internet and can't find the boss's wife's social media account. I wanted to see her stunning beauty, but there's nothing. I'll just go back to watching Brother Mao. You still have time to chat here? Go boost his stats. Sisters, let's not disturb private citizens. It doesn't look good. Let the boss study well at his company. Crying laughing emoji. Overnight, every member of Chun Mao's fan groups learned Wei Bai's name. Everyone marveled at how young Chun Mao's boss was, just a freshman. But under the constraints and guidance of the various group admins and major fans, not many people continued to dig into Wei Bai's life. Everyone's attention quickly returned to Chun Mao himself. That night, Wei Bai slept very well. On the morning of the 3rd, he woke up a little after 6. He was a bit excited because he was returning to Luqing today. Moreover, Ms. Wu had specifically set aside more than a week to spend with him and had already arrived home last night. Wei Bai video called Ms. Wu and Old Wei every week, but it had been a long time since he had seen them in person. He missed them dearly, and today he could finally see them. At this moment, classmate Xie was not yet awake. Wei Bai quietly got up, preparing to make breakfast. Just as he sat up, he felt a hand rest on his waist. Wei Bai turned his head and saw classmate Xie blinking, trying hard to open her eyes. "You're awake?" he said with a smile. Xie mumbled, "No." "Wei Bai, it's still early, go back to sleep for a bit." They had booked a high-speed train ticket for 10 o'clock, so they just needed to leave an hour in advance. Xie hugged him even tighter, pressing her whole body against him. "Stay with me." Wei Bai gently stroked her head. Classmate Xie was, in fact, a classmate Xie who loved to sleep in, and she also liked to make him sleep in with her. "Be good. Sleep by yourself," Wei Bai said softly. He didn't have anything important to do. He just couldn't fall back asleep. "No," Xie said, resting her head on his waist. Wei Bai had no choice but to lie back down, holding her entire body in his arms. "Classmate Xie," he said helplessly, "go to sleep. I'll stay with you." But now Xie couldn't sleep either. "Bye-bye," she whispered. "Where should we go for summer vacation?" The two had agreed long ago to go on a trip during the summer break. They hadn't decided where yet, but one thing was certain. It had to be somewhere not too hot. "Yunqing," Wei Bai said. Chow'er said Yunqing is very cool. Or Daocheng. Zhou said last night that the fresh beer there is delicious, and I've never seen the Northern Sea. Either is fine. As long as she was with him, anywhere was fine. "We'll check the weather when the time comes," Wei Bai promised. Anyone with a girlfriend knows that the act of simply holding her can be quite challenging. Sometimes you just want to hold her, but as you hold her, things change. And certain organs are simply not controlled by personal willpower. In any case, Weibai had very little willpower at times like these. Classmates, yeah, you can't sleep now, can you? How about we do some exercise? Simuman, At 9 o'clock, the two of them, each pulling a large suitcase and carrying a backpack, got into a ride-hailing car. Their backpacks were filled with gifts and snacks they had bought for their families in advance. Soon, they arrived at the high-speed rail station and smoothly entered to wait for their train. They had bought first-class seats, adjacent A and C seats. After sitting down, the first thing Weibai did was raise the armrest between them. They always did this when they took the high-speed train or plane together. Sometimes classmate Xie would rest her head on his shoulder and slowly fall asleep. At times like these, Weibai was grateful that these armrests could be raised. Siem Yumin was messaging her aunt. Annie said she would come pick us up. She was talking to Weibo while chatting with her aunt. Weibo, huh? Then I'll tell old Wei not to come. Siem Yumin nodded. Just then, Weibo happened to receive a message from old Wei. Old Wei, I'm not coming to pick you up. Your aunt is, and then she'll bring you back for dinner. Old Wei, your mom is busy at home. I'm helping her out. Weibo read the two sentences twice to make sure he hadn't misunderstood. Annie is picking them up, and then they're going back to his house for dinner. It seemed a bit illogical, yet at the same time, it seemed perfectly logical. Classmate Xie, Weibo looked at Siem Yumin and smiled. We're going to my place for dinner later. Siem Yumin, Weibo, Auntie is coming too. Siem Yumin processed this short exchange. Then her eyes suddenly widened. But what I'm wearing? For the convenience of the high-speed train ride, she had worn a comfortable but simple t-shirt and linen pants. Very casual, not formal at all. Meeting Turtle's parents dressed like this? She should probably find a place to change. Yes. Weibo, huh? What's wrong with what you're wearing? It's comfortable and good-looking. It couldn't be better. Siem Yumin. Really? Weibo nodded firmly. Of course. Does being beautiful only mean wearing a dress, jewelry, and makeup? He thought classmate Xie looked very beautiful, just like this. An idiom like a lotus rising from the clear water couldn't even begin to describe it. Siem Yumin looked at his earnest expression and suddenly smiled. She was overthinking it. Little Turtle wouldn't care if she was meticulously dressed up, so naturally, Little Turtle's parents wouldn't either. Besides, she was pretty. She was pretty even in simple clothes. Yes. She nodded. It couldn't be better. Her deadpan expression was really cute. Weibo rubbed her head. I wonder what delicious food Ms. will make for us, Weibo said. Siem Yumin. Everything Annie Wu makes is super delicious. Weibo agreed. That's true. The two of them chatted in low voices, completely unaware that a girl on one side of the aisle was glancing at them again and again. Even if they had noticed, they wouldn't have cared. After all, good-looking people attract some attention when they go out, and Weibo was already used to it, provided he was out with classmate Xie. A little over an hour later, the train arrived in Luqing. As soon as the two of them reached the station exit, they saw the very conspicuous Maybach. On one side of the Maybach, Yuli was leaning against the car, wearing sunglasses and waving at them. The two of them quickly pulled their suitcases and walked over. Yuli took off her sunglasses. You must be hungry, right? Let's go, time to eat. This was a very common phrase. But in Luqing, hearing a family member say such words, Weibo suddenly felt a great sense of happiness. The words go home to eat just seemed so blissful. Going home to eat with classmate Xie was even more blissful. The sentence, going home with classmate Xie and Annie to eat a meal made by Ms. Wu and Old Wei, practically constructed an incredibly happy scene. They were in the familiar Maybach again. Weibo and classmate Xie sat side by side, looking forward to getting home. Station exit. Xiao Ying loved cherries, watched the Maybach drive away. She excitedly took out her phone and continued the previous topic with her best friend. They really got off at Luqing Station and got into a Maybach. They're actually from Luqing. Her best friend also liked Chen Mao and was very excited to see the message. Oh my God, how can the world be so small? But it makes sense when you think about it. Your university student, the boss and the boss's wife are also university students. You're on break, so they are too. You go home, of course, they have to go home too. I was wondering before, how could Chen Mao, working a manual job in a small city like Luqing, be discovered by the owner of an agency? I never thought they're from the same hometown. Shouting loves cherries, fingers flew across the screen. In a small city like Lucheng, how many people can afford a Maybach? I feel like I'm about to uncover the boss and his wife's background. Her best friend immediately advised her against it. Don't dig and don't post it in the group chat. They are private citizens. It's not good to dig into private citizens' lives. Don't cause trouble for Chun Mao. Shouting loves cherries had to suppress her curiosity. Actually, I don't think I need to dig. Everyone will find out soon enough. After all, entrepreneurs aren't exactly private citizens, right? That brain-computer interface thing, even the official high university media interviewed them. There will definitely be more media interviews in the future. While chatting with her best friend, Shouting loves cherries hailed a cab home. On the way home, she suddenly thought of the turtle doll on the boss's wife's backpack. Strange. It was just a normal little doll. Why did it catch her attention? Moreover, for some reason, she felt that the turtle doll was very familiar. No, it was the word turtle that felt very familiar. Why would a turtle feel familiar? Shouting loves cherries couldn't figure it out and could only conclude that she was craving soft-shelled turtle. Her house was very close to the high-speed rail station, a 10-minute trip home. As soon as she entered, she saw a table full of dishes. Obviously, there was no soft-shelled turtle. All the dishes were familiar, and even the music was familiar. Yes, her mom was playing Wu Ruxin songs again. Her mom was a fan of Wu Ruxin. Ever since Wu Ruxin became famous, she would tell everyone she met that she had played mahjong with her. Ah, you're back? Wash your hands and eat first. Seeing her daughter return, Cherry's mom started humming Spring Breeze Slumbers. At the dinner table, Cherry started promoting Chun Mao to her mom. He's from our Lucheng too. I really didn't expect a small place like our Lucheng to produce 2 big stars in a row. Speaking of this, Cherry's mom had plenty to say. Wasn't it because Wu Jie's son went on the big screen to rally votes for Chun Mao? We all voted in our fan group. Wu Jie's son? On the big screen? Shouting loves cherries. His eyes suddenly widened. Mom, are you saying that Wei Bai is Wu Ruxin's son? Yes. Her son has been outstanding since he was a child. He was the top scorer in last year's college entrance exam and has a girlfriend who is so beautiful. Shouting loves cherries. As jaw dropped. She had to admit, it was a really small world, but she never expected it to be this small. No, she couldn't dig any further. Otherwise, she was afraid she'd evolve into a Seising fan. However, Chun Mao's boss is surprisingly outstanding. Handsome, a good student, and incredibly rich. Is he even human? He's clearly a male god. Chun Mao's boss is even more of a male god than Chun Mao. After dinner, Shouting loves cherries went back to gossiping with her best friend. This time, she found typing too slow and just called her directly. Her best friend had also just finished eating, and the two started a long phone chat. Wow, her friend said in surprise, your mom really held the child version of the boss. Shouting loves cherries. My mom doesn't have any other hobbies, just loves to brag a little. Her best friend giggled. As they chatted, the topic gradually drifted. Shouting loves cherries brought up the soft-shelled turtle. Seeing the boss's wife's turtle plushie suddenly made me crave soft-shelled turtle. A turtle plushie, her best friend said, puzzled. I can't imagine the boss's wife carrying a turtle plushie. I thought beauties like her all carried Labubu or La Chapelle keychains. Labubu is really hard to get now. Yeah. It had been a long time since he had Ms. Wu's cooking. Wei Bai ate until he was 13/10 full, his stomach bulging. Xian Yumin also ate a lot, especially the sweet and sour pork ribs. She declared that they were the best sweet and sour pork ribs in the world. Wu Ruxin was so delighted by her praise that she couldn't stop smiling. Tell Annie what you want to eat, and Annie will make it for you every day. Before Xian Yumin could say anything, Yuli pretended to be angry. Well now, already thinking about stealing my man away to your home? Wu Ruxin looked at her reproachfully. You can come and eat too. Yuli, so I'm just an afterthought. The two had long since become best friends and spoke without reservations. The atmosphere at the dinner table was very friendly, like a family. After eating, they chatted for a while longer before Xian Yumin had to go home with Yuli. Before she left, Wu Ruxin stuffed a lot of food for her to take. Wei Bai carried the large and small bags downstairs to see them off. Yuli laughed at him. Why don't you come home with me too? Wei Bai, Really? Simuman. Really? Yuli. Man is getting more and more thick-skinned. She must have learned it from this boy Wei Bai. Of course, Wei Bai couldn't really go with them. He watched the two get into the car, and after the Maybach drove away, he returned home. He needed to take a good shower, get some sleep, and then go find classmate Xie to hang out at night. Tomorrow. He'll find classmate Xie to hang out tomorrow too. The day after tomorrow, he'll work with classmate Xie. The day after that, he'll study with classmate Xie. Then he'll go eat all kinds of delicious food with classmate Xie and travel together. Back home. Ms. Wu, I'm back. Wu Ruxin was startled by him. You're so old. Why are you acting like a child? Wei Bai smiled. Aren't I just a child? Wu Ruxin. All right, go get some sleep. You're busy with school, music, and that brain computer interface stuff. You must be exhausted, right? Wei Bai thought for a moment. It's all right. Tiring, but happy. It gives me a sense of accomplishment. Wu Ruxin. I just changed your bed sheets. I put the watermelon in your room. Go rest. Hearing this, Wei Bai immediately took a shower and returned to his room feeling refreshed. The bedding was his favorite sky blue 4-piece set. The watermelon was cut into pieces, and the air conditioner had been turned on long ago. Wei Bai let out a low cheer and rolled around on the bed. This is so comfortable. No matter how old he was or what success he had achieved, as long as he returned to this room, to Ms. Wu and old Wei, he was still just a child. Covered with a thick quilt in the air-conditioned room, eating watermelon and chatting with classmate Xie, Wei Bai felt even happier. The first summer vacation of college began. Just like this, blissfully, Chen Mao had debuted. His 3-year performance, film and television, and business contracts were all signed with Goose Factory. In other words, Shui Yanxin would have to wait 3 years to make big money from Chen Mao. It's not an idle wait, Shui Yanxin replied to Ning Buqiao. I also have a lot of work to handle. Goose only manages the profitable stuff. They don't care about anything else. Besides, my workload isn't that heavy, and I still get a cut of the money Chen Mao earns. This is what you call an effortless win. Shui Yanxin was very happy. She had already seen results from Chen Mao, and in 3 years, there would be even greater results. During these 3 years, she had other artists to manage, had to attend various dinner parties and drinking gatherings, and learn to negotiate for projects, pull in resources, and manage artists. In short, Shui Yanxin was very satisfied with her current job and believed it brought her good fortune. Ning Buqiao chatted with Shui Yanxin while waiting for his flight at the airport. Ning Buqiao, it's not an effortless win. You've also done a lot of work. Ning Buqiao, you deserve the money you earn. After a few more exchanges, Shui Yanxin got busy again. Ning Buqiao glanced at the time. Boarding would begin in 10 minutes. He stood up, ready to get in line. As he walked, dragging his suitcase, he suddenly had a familiar feeling to his left. He glanced at his left and saw Song Liusi walking right beside him. She looked at him with a cold and mournful expression, as if he were some heartless scumbag. Ning Buqiao pretended he hadn't seen anything, turned his head back, and walked to the end of the line. It was quite unfortunate to run into Song Liusi at the airport, but they were neighbors. It was impossible for them to avoid each other forever. Ning Buqiao didn't want to make the atmosphere awkward, but Song Liusi didn't look friendly, so he didn't want to greet her. One should follow one's heart, so he would just pretend they were strangers. Song Liusi gripped the handle of her suitcase tightly, standing behind Ning Buqiao. She was standing right behind him, and he didn't say a single word. Could it be, just as Ho Xinxin had said, that he already completely disliked her? The moment she considered this possibility, Song Liusi's heart ached so much she could barely breathe. More than a decade of affection, a crush that had lasted since childhood. How could it just disappear? They were so close to being together. No, it couldn't be like this. Ning Buqiao was such a gentle person. Even if he didn't like her anymore, he wouldn't just ignore her completely. So he must be playing hard to trying to gain the upper hand in their relationship. She absolutely could not give in. Between them, Ning Buqiao was the one who loved more. So in this stalemate, she would definitely not be the first one to back down. When the time came, she would make Ning Buqiao coax her properly and apologize to her. He would also have to make it up to her with a grand, unparalleled confession, a true 99 confession. After Ning Buqiao got off the plane, he saw his roommates in the dorm group chat complaining about the summer heat. Pancong, it's almost 40 degrees at my house. Even my grandma, who insisted that air conditioning makes people sick, had one installed. Zhou Yin, it started raining in Haicheng as soon as you guys left. It's humid and hot. Wei Bai, Lucheng is pretty much the same as Haicheng. Ning Buqiao had just walked out of the airport and felt the spring-like breeze of Yunqing. Ning Buqiao, Yunqing is quite hot this year too. It's already 25 degrees. Zhou Yin, damn. Pan Kong, you're such a jerk. Wei Bai, no need to be jealous of him. He's only home for a week before coming back to Haicheng. Zhou Yin, that's right, huh? Pan Kong, I'm going back to Haicheng in about 10 days too, to help out at my parents' shop. Wei Bai, I'm not sure when, but I'll definitely have to go back too. The recording studio that Macao Culture worked with was in Haicheng, so both he and classmate Xie had to go back to record songs. There was also a pile of things to do on Lingxi's side. He had just spoken with Yu Haguang, who had just returned from a business trip in Jingcheng. He was back to officially begin the collaboration with Huaxing and start the clinical trials. Although there were many things to do, it was summer vacation after all, with no school, so Wei Bai felt it was still quite relaxed overall. Wei Bai, huh? Chower, did you just get off the plane? Ning Buqiao. Yeah, I'm waiting for a rideshare to pick me up. His parents were both at work and didn't have time to get him, but he was used to it. Ever since he was young, his parents had always been busy with work, so he often ate at the home of Song Liuxi, who lived on the same floor. Thinking of this, Ning Buqiao felt that this matter was a bit difficult to handle. He no longer liked Song Liuxi, and it seemed they couldn't be friends either, but he still deeply respected and was grateful to her parents. As he was thinking, he glanced behind him. Song Liuxi was standing not far away, apparently also waiting for a rideshare. Ning Buqiao withdrew his gaze and saw that his car had arrived. After getting in the car, he thought for a moment and sent a message to Wei Bai. Ning Buqiao, Brother Bai, Song Lizi's parents are both very nice to me. How should I face them when I go back? Wei Bai, huh? Wei Bai, her parents are her parents. She is she. Just face them as you normally would. Ning Buqiao stared at the message and, after careful consideration, felt that he had been overthinking it. Wei Bai was right. Song Lizi was Song Lizi, and her parents were her parents. He should just act as he always had and let things be. Yunqing Airport was in a rather remote location. The ride-hailing car took nearly half an hour to get home. Ning Buqiao lived on the 5th floor of the staff apartment building. There was no elevator. He carried his suitcase up floor by floor with one hand. He knew that behind him, Song Lizi was also struggling to carry her suitcase. But he only caught a glimpse of her figure out of the corner of his eye when he turned a corner. Other than that, he never once looked back. In Song Lizi's memory, this was the first time she had ever carried such heavy luggage upstairs by herself. In the past, every time she came home for a break, Ning Buqiao would be waiting downstairs for her, carrying her luggage and her backpack. But now, she was right behind him, and he wouldn't help her at all. There had to be a limit to playing hard to get. If he kept this up, she was going to get truly angry. Ning Buqiao had already reached the 5th floor. As soon as he got there, he saw that the door to Song Lizi's apartment was open, and Dad Song was busy inside. Dad Song turned his head, saw Ning Buqiao, and immediately broke into a smile. Then his eyes scanned the area behind Ning Buqiao, surprised not to see his daughter. Chower, where's your sis Cici? Didn't you two come back together? Ning Buqiao tried to greet Dad Song as naturally as possible. Cici is right behind me. She'll be here in a second. After speaking, he took out his keys from his pocket and went into his own apartment. Behind Dad Song, Mom Song heard the commotion and came out. What is it? Just then, the couple saw their daughter, Song Lizi, struggling up the stairs alone with her suitcase, a sour look on her face. Dad and Mom Song exchanged a glance and pulled their daughter into the apartment. Cici, did you and Chawa have a fight? Dad Song asked. Song Lizi's expression soured even more. He's the one fighting with me. Seeing her like this, Mom Song knew who was in the right and who was in the wrong. What did you do now? How many times has Mom told you not to be so bossy with Chower? Why don't you ever listen? Dad Song interrupted his wife. All right, it's just a little fight. Cici, Chower's parents aren't home. Go ask him to come over for dinner. Your mom made his favorite mushroom chicken soup. Song Lizi was already annoyed, and hearing her parents constantly blame her made her even angrier. I'm not going. Song Lizi shouted. He was the one who ignored me first. Why should I be the one to back down? With that, She refused to even eat dinner, went back to her room, and slammed the door with a bang. Mom Song shot her husband an indignant look. "This is all your fault for spoiling her." Dad Song said, "If she doesn't want to eat, let her be. She'll eat when she gets hungry. I'll go get chow. The chicken soup is getting cold." As he spoke, Dad Song went out and knocked on the neighbor's door. He knocked a few times, but there was no answer. Dad Song took out his phone to call Ningbo Chow. "Chow, where did you go? Come back for dinner." Hearing the concern in Dad Song's voice, Ningbo Chow felt a warmth in his heart, then said earnestly, "I came out to eat rice noodles. I can't get rice noodles this authentic in Haicheng." Hearing this, Dad Song suddenly understood something. He sighed and said, "All right then, come over for a meal some other time." Ningbo Chow agreed and ended the call. Dad Song went home and told his wife about the call. From the looks of it, this isn't just a tiff. It looks like a real breakup. Mom Song was unconcerned. Those two grew up together. How could they just break up like that? Just wait. They'll definitely make up in a couple of days. But Dad Song didn't think so. You know what kind of kid Chower is, don't you? Dad Song was very downcast. If it weren't a real breakup, would he act so distant with us? And he made Cece carry her own suitcase up the stairs. Think about it. Has that ever happened before? Hearing this, Mom Song started to panic a little and immediately went to knock on Song Lizi's door. I need to ask her properly what she did to him this time. They had watched Ningbo Chow grow up. They knew him inside and out. His parents had a good relationship. Both had proper jobs, and he was completely devoted to their daughter. If they missed out on Ningbo Chow, where would they ever find such a suitable son-in-law? The thought that the two might have really broken up made Mom Song anxious, and she began to pound on Song Lizi's door. "Cece, open the door. Tell Mom, what on earth happened between you and Chow? Chow won't even come over for dinner. He went out to eat rice noodles." Song Liusi was so annoyed by her mother's knocking that she yelled, "I already told you. He ignored me first. He said he doesn't like me anymore. He's ignoring me. Are you happy now? Whatever he wants to eat is none of my business." Hearing her hysterical voice, Song's mother was furious. "Just keep talking nonsense. You must have done something again to make Chower angry." The mother and daughter from the Song family argued for a long time. The old house had poor soundproofing, and Ningbo Chow, who had returned home after eating his rice noodles, could even hear their quarreling. Ningbo Chow felt very sorry and a little sad for making his aunt angry. But he really didn't like Song Liusi anymore. Therefore, he would probably never get to drink the mushroom chicken soup his aunt made again. Shui Yunshin, wow, these rice noodles look really different. Half an hour earlier, he had sent a picture of the rice noodles to Shui Yunshin, and she had finally replied. The corners of Ningbo Chow's mouth curved up. "When you come to Yunshin to play, I'll take you to eat a lot of delicious food. Shui Yunshin, when I'm a rich woman, you'll be the guide, and I'll pay." Ningbo Chow, shouldn't you give me a guide fee then? Shui Yunshin, Chower, learn something good from me. Don't learn to be two-faced. Ningbo Chow, Sister Yunshin has a fair face and a red heart. Shui Yunshin, that's so gross, go away, go away. Shui Yunshin, going to a meeting. Ningbo Chow, good luck. After their simple conversation, the argument next door had also quieted down. Ningbo Chow went back to his room and had a good sleep. "Yeah, son," Winley called out to Suya's room. "Come out and have some watermelon." Hugging her phone, Suya walked out of her room, half awake. Ever since she finished retaking the college entrance exam, she had been turning night into day, looking half dead, a sight son Winley had gotten used to. Now that the exam was over and the results were out, son Winley didn't bother her about it anymore. "Go to school tomorrow and have your teacher look at your college choices." Son Winley handed Suya a slice of watermelon. Seeing her absent-minded look, she emphasized again, "Did you hear me?" The school son Winley was referring to was the tutoring center where she worked. They also provided college application services for students. She had already spoken to a colleague in charge of this area, asking them to give Suya extra attention. Suya numbly replied with a Son Winley got angry just looking at her like this. "If you hadn't dated that Lu Chuan during your senior year of repeating, would you have only scored 562? With this score, you can't even get into high university. It is what is now. You have to be serious about choosing your college and try to get into a remote 211 university. Did you hear me?" Suya. As if she hadn't heard anything, Suya dazedly chewed on her watermelon. Even now, She couldn't accept the fact that Lu Chuan had broken up with her. Thinking about what Lu Chuan had said to her after the college entrance exam, her heart felt like it was being twisted by a knife. "Suya, you don't really think I like you, do you? I was just using you to get into college. Now that the college entrance exam is over, who has the patience to keep playing along with you? Also, don't think I don't know that while you were with me, you were also writing letters to Zhan Hongxian, who's in prison. I heard he was sentenced to 1 year and 3 months, so he doesn't have many months left. You can wait for him to get out." As Lu Chuan spoke those hurtful words, the people around him, who used to call her sister-in-law, let out piercing laughter. They all looked at her with that mocking gaze, as if she were some piece of trash. That scene deeply stung Suya's heart. The watermelon was sweet, but the tears that fell on it turned it salty. Drip, drop. Cry, cry, cry. All you know is how to cry. Sun Wenli got annoyed at the sight of Suya's tears. It's already like this. What's there to cry about? In Sun Wenli's opinion, it wasn't a bad thing for Suya to go to a university far from home. Luqing was too close to Haicheng, and it was inevitable that some gossip would spread. Suya's reputation in Luqing was already ruined. She had to go far away to find a better boyfriend. Listen to Mom. Choose your college carefully. There's still hope with this score. After you get into college, hurry up and find a rich boyfriend, at least richer than Wei Bo. Do you hear me? Wei Bo. It had been a long time since Suya had heard this name. Before, she always thought that if she got into high university, she could get back together with Wei Bo. She already knew she was wrong, and she had already been punished. She was deceived. She was deceived by Zhan Hongxian, believing in some nonsense about love being supreme. She was deceived by Lu Chuan, thinking she had found true love again. She was deceived, which was why she ignored Wei Bo's sincerity time and time again. If she apologized properly to Wei Bo and let him know that she knew she was wrong, Wei Bo, being such a kind person, wouldn't ignore her. The name Wei Bo, like an antidote, briefly brought Suya's heart back to life. In fact, she hadn't slept at all the previous night and had been watching videos of Chun Mao's debut. She saw Chun Mao standing on the stage, surrounded by cheers that were all for him. She saw Chun Mao on a video call with Wei Bai, calling him boss. Some long-abandoned thoughts began to sprout wildly. If an insignificant punk like Chun Mao could make it, why couldn't she? She was pretty, a good singer, and she could dance. If she could become a star. Suya's heart pounded at the thought of receiving the admiration and affection of countless people, just like Chun Mao. No, not just like Chun Mao, but even more famous than him. If she participated in a talent show, she would definitely win the championship. Yes, Wei Bai. Suya repeated his name. Wei Bai can save me. Even Sun Wenli no longer believed this when she said it. That family of Wei Bais has long recognized money over people. Sun Wenli's tone was full of contempt. Ever since they latched onto the richest man, do you think they still have people like us in their eyes? Hearing Sun Wenli say this, Suya's heart soured again. It had been over a year, and Wei Bai and Simp still hadn't broken up. They even appeared on a video call with Chun Mao together, their faces on the big screen. How had Wei Bai not yet discovered Simu's true face? That was a demon. A murderer. At the thought of Simu, Suya didn't even dare to dream of stardom any longer. What if Simu was still angry with her and wanted to kill her? No, she wouldn't. She wouldn't fight with Simu over Wei Bai anymore. She could be a star and make money for both of them. Yes, she had to be patient. One day, Wei Bai and Simu would break up. And then he would see her, Suya, who had always been standing behind him. Mom, having figured things out, Suya was very excited. I don't want to go to school in some remote place. I want to be in Haicheng. Only in Haicheng are there opportunities. Haicheng does have a lot of rich people. Sun Wenli thought for a moment and felt it made sense. And it's not like anything really happened between you and Lu Chuan. That little incident is nothing at all. All right, tomorrow Mom will go with you to the academy to consult about your applications. We'll have a good talk with the teachers then. Seeing Sun Wenli agree, Suya finally smiled. She was on Haicheng. She was going to be a star. Now, there was only one thing left to do, and that was to find Wei Bai and prove her potential to him. For the first few days of summer vacation, Wei Bai had been living a very comfortable life. He had lunch at home with classmate Xie, and in the evening, He either went to his aunt's place or went out to eat with classmate Sia. They explored small eateries, wandered through night markets, and were very happy every day. On this day, after dropping classmate Sia home, Wei Bai hailed a cab to go home. Before he even reached his doorstep, he saw a slender figure standing downstairs. Wei Bai didn't pay much attention and was about to swipe his card to enter the building. Suddenly, the slender figure spoke. Bye-bye. The voice sounded a bit familiar, but he couldn't recall who it was. Wei Bai turned his head to look. In the twilight of the streetlights, he recognized the person. It was actually Suya. Was Suya specifically waiting for him downstairs at his home? What for? It couldn't be that her repeat exam scores were out and she came to share the good news with him, could it? The thought alone was quite horrifying. Bye-bye. Seeing him turn around, Suya was afraid he would ignore her and walk away like before. I know I did a lot of wrong things in the past and hurt you. I know I was wrong. I came this time to tell you that I believe in you and am willing to sign with you, to debut as a star and make money for you. Wei Bai was a little surprised. He turned completely and looked at Suya seriously. Over a year had passed, and in truth, some of his memories and anger towards Suya had long since faded. He also knew that Suya could perhaps really become famous and bring a lot of income for Mu Chao culture. However, he didn't want to sign Suya. Yeah, he wouldn't even earn money that was right there for the taking. Yes, he wouldn't earn it even if it was there. I think you've misunderstood something, Wei Bai said. I stopped caring about you a long time ago, and I certainly don't need your apology. Furthermore, neither I nor my company have any intention of signing you. After saying those two sentences, Wei Bai pulled open the building door and was about to go inside. Suya hurriedly blocked the door with her body. Bye-bye, listen to me. I saw Chen Mao debut. I have at least more potential than him, right? You know I'm a good singer. I can sing for you right now, and I can also dance. Believe me, I can really become a big star. Miss, whether or not you can become a big star has nothing to do with me. Wei Bai remained very calm. I will not sign you. Suya was burning with anxiety. Are you afraid that Xian Yuman will get angry? I promise I won't go in front of her. I won't compete with her. Wei Bai just found it amusing. My girlfriend doesn't get angry over irrelevant people. You think too highly of yourself. If this were high school, he would believe that classmate Xian might get angry because of Suya. But now, how could this be? How could he trust Xian Yuman so much? Xian Yuman was clearly someone who would get angry. Clearly a cold-blooded devil. Do you have any idea? Suya yelled out, disregarding everything. Xian Yuman once tried to run me over with her car. Right in this residential complex. I almost died. Huh. Wei Bo's expression finally showed a flicker of emotion. He looked at Suya seriously, the corners of his mouth lifting. But you didn't die, did you? With that said, he pushed Suya aside and strode into the building entrance, leaving Suya alone, standing dumbfounded in the doorway. But you didn't die, did you? But you didn't die, did you? How could Wei Bo say something like that? Was the person who could say such a thing still Wei Bo? At that moment, Suya suddenly felt that Wei Bo was no longer the person in her memory. He was no longer kind, no longer sunny, no longer had any feelings for her. Is this what they mean by you become like the company you keep? Suya gave a bitter smile, finally understanding the biggest mistake she had made. Everyone was moving forward. Only she was still like a child, guarding the feelings of the past, unwilling to let go. Walking out of the entrance of Building 60, Suya glanced back. This door, she would probably never push it open again. This time, it was really a temporary goodbye, Wei Bo. People grow up. You did, and so will I. Let's meet at the top in the future. Her shadow, elongated by the streetlights, moved farther and farther away from Building 60. The tears on Suya's face streamed down like strings of pearls. Growing up is truly a very, very painful thing. Only now did she realize that Zhen Hongxian, Lu Chuan, and Wei Bo were all just passers-by in her life. What she needed to do was to once again become that Suya who was cherished and loved by everyone. Holy shit, holy shit, holy shit. When did student Xie do something like that? It must have been during high school, right? Student Xie didn't even have a driver's license back then. Damn it. He had to fiercely question and educate this student Xie. Let her know she couldn't do something that breaks the law. But Suya didn't die, did she? She wasn't even injured. Which meant student Xie didn't hit her at all, just scared her a little. Student Xie's driving skills are so good, Her control is so strong. She's so smart and so kind. Back home, Weibo had a video call with student Xie. On screen, student Xie was wearing a slip dress, the pink silk straps contrasting with her snow-white skin. Weibo quickly took a few more glances. Xiam Yumin chuckled softly. Why aren't you talking? Weibo, you're too beautiful. Xiam Yumin, the nightgown? Weibo, no, it's student Xie wearing this nightgown. As soon as he returned to Lucheng, Weibo would feel that things between him and his girlfriend became different. It was like being back in high school, full of nostalgia, yet with a different kind of freshness. The two chatted for a while, and Weibo mentioned being cornered by Suya earlier. As Weibo expected, Xiam Yumin had long since stopped caring about Suya, but Xiam Yumin cared about Weibo. Her small dimples vanished, and her voice turned a little cold. How dare she still come and bother you? Weibo was alarmed. Had he accidentally triggered student Xie's villain mode? Oh no. Although a cold-faced student Xie was thrilling as hell, running people over with a car was a bit much. I don't think she'll come again, Weibo said after a thought. But she might sign with another company. Then that has nothing to do with us. A few seconds later, Xiam Yumin hummed an agreement, then said seriously, You're not allowed to sign her. Weibo smiled, of course not. He could actually sense today that Suyu was different from before. She no longer cared so much about romance. Instead, her mind was set on becoming famous. Was she spurred on by Chan Mao's sudden rise to fame? Weibo didn't know, nor could he be bothered to think too deeply about it. To him, this was just a small episode during his summer vacation. He stayed in Lucheng for a week, climbing a mountain at dawn to see the sunrise, cycling along the river in the evening, and even went to the flower and bird market to pick out 2 small goldfish which he left with his aunt. He met up with long-unseen classmates, visited Old Wang, and went back to his hometown to see his grandfather. On the 10th, Weibo prepared to return to Haicheng. On this day, he heard news about Suya again. The news came from Xia Xia, the know-it-all. Xia Xia, bye-bye. I heard that Suya started doing group live streams. Weibo. Unexpectedly, Suya was quite the go-getter. Weibo acknowledged the message to Xia Xia and said no more. He packed his luggage and waited at home for his aunt to pick him up. Good times are always short-lived. He had to go back to Haicheng to continue the grind. Half an hour later, under the just-go-already gazes of Ms. Wu and Old Wei, Weibo was once again in the Maybach. It was still Yuli who personally drove, taking him and classmate Xie back to Haicheng. On the way, Yuli complained, You're leaving after only staying for a week. We'll be back, Xiam Yumin said softly. There's still a lot of vacation left. Yuli sighed. It's still better when they're kids, clinging to me all day, just wanting to be with me, with no smelly man on their minds at all. The smelly man himself, Weibai. He wasn't smelly, really. In fact, he smelled rather nice. Weibai brought up his treatment at home over the past 2 days. Ms. Wu and Old Wei started finding fault with me from the 3rd day on. They even nagged me for staying up late to work. Yuli laughed. Is that finding fault with you? That's them caring about you. Weibai. Ms. Wu probably does care about me, but Old Wei, not necessarily. I think he was just hoping I'd leave, so he could have the world to himself with his wife. Yuli, I want a world for 2 as well. When are you 2 going to give me a little one? Weibai was stunned. This remark could be called the bombshell of the year. He and classmate Xie were still so young, and his aunt was already pushing for babies. We're still kids ourselves. Weibai had to make his position clear. MHM, Xiam Yumin also stated her position. I want a world for 2 as well. Yuli, alright, I was just saying, you 2 aren't old enough yet. It wasn't good to have children so young. Next year, maybe, she could accept the year after that, too. The 3 of them chatted until they reached the high-speed rail station. Soon, Weibai and Xiam Yumin were on the high-speed train heading back. This week went by so fast, Weibai lamented. Xiam Yumin felt the same way. Extremely, extremely fast. It's just that not being able to eat meat on the weekend will be a little sad. Yeah, the sole heir to the richest man in Lucheng can't even get meat to eat? No, that sentence doesn't seem quite right. Sigma, hey, that's not what she meant, is it? Sometimes he really hated how strong his comprehension skills were. Classmate Xie, Weibai said in a low voice, You'll have some to eat when we get home. Xiam Yumin nodded with a serious face, indicating her satisfaction with this answer. After a week away, the 2 were back in Haicheng. After a simple lunch downstairs, Wei Bai set off for Lingxi. The reason he was in such a hurry to return to Haicheng was that Yu Heguang was back. Returning with Yu Heguang was Yao Hongba, the chief secretary to Han Yujun of Huaxing. He was the main person in charge from Huaxing's side for this collaboration. At 3 in the afternoon, Lingxi and Huaxing had arranged a very important meeting. Wei Bai had come back specifically for this meeting. Xian Yuman left with him, but didn't go to Lingxi, heading to a dance studio instead. She had booked a private popping lesson at a dance studio to try it out. Hello, are you Miss Xie? Oh my, you are so beautiful. Yes. This way. Please, the instructor is already waiting for you. This dance studio was one of the most famous in Haicheng, and the instructors had all won medals in international competitions. Xian Yuman was very particular about instructors and the environment. Walking through, she was quite satisfied with the environment. If the instructor was to her liking, she would practice at this studio for the rest of the vacation. They walked to the door of a private studio. Xian Yuman went in. The dance instructor's name was Daisy, and she was dressed very stylishly. When she saw Xian Yuman, her eyes showed obvious astonishment. After noticing Xian Yuman's bracelet and handbag, she was even more surprised. That handbag was not something you could get just by having money. In front of such a wealthy and beautiful woman, Daisy immediately shed her usual sense of superiority towards students and became very attentive. Xian Yuman didn't care about the dance instructor's personality, only the quality of teaching. After one lesson, she was fairly satisfied and signed up for 30 private lessons. Before leaving the dance studio, she suddenly noticed a dance instructor teaching a group jazz class. The instructor had a head of wild blonde hair, but her face was not aggressive at all, very gentle and cute. What's her name? Xian Yuman asked Daisy. Daisy quickly said, she teaches jazz, not popping. Besides, this Miss Xie's skill level was very high. Lisa was in no position to be her teacher. I'm not changing instructors, Xian Yuman said. What's her name? How old is she? Not changing instructors, as long as she wasn't changing instructors. Daisy didn't know what Xian Yuman was planning, but had no choice but to answer. Her name is Lisa, around 20, I think. Chinese name? Xian Yuman asked. Daisy was a bit embarrassed. We all go by English names here. I don't know what her Chinese name is either. Xian Yuman nodded. MHM. She then asked about the group class schedule and, learning it was about to end, stood by the door to wait. Wanting to curry favor with this young lady, Daisy also stood by the door and waited with her. Not until the group class ended and the students had left did Lisa come out of the classroom. Lisa, come over here, Daisy called to her. This Miss Xie would like to meet you. Lisa had seen Xian Yuman the moment she stepped out of the classroom. Being that beautiful, it was really hard not to notice. Hello, Lisa said with a smile. May I help you with something? Her voice wasn't bad either. Trainer, send her to next year's girl group. Her small dimples appeared. Shall we talk alone? A few minutes later, in the consultation room, Lisa's face was full of confusion. Are you saying I can debut as a star? I can't. I've been a backup dancer for celebrities. They're all exceptionally beautiful and talented. Xian Yuman, you are also exceptionally beautiful and talented. Xian Yuman grabbed a piece of paper, wrote down Shui Yunxin's WeChat ID on it, and handed it to the girl in front of her. This is the agent's contact information. If you're interested, get in touch with her. After a pause, Xian Yuman added, she's also Chun Mao's agent. Chun Mao? Lisa was shocked. Chun Mao's company. It must be amazing, right? How could such an amazing company take an interest in her? She was really just ordinary. But such a beautiful girl couldn't be a scammer, right? May I ask, who are you? Lisa asked cautiously. Me? Her small dimples deepened. I'm Chun Mao's boss's wife. Instantly, Lisa's pupils dilated. She hadn't followed Supernova training camp, but she knew about the dimpled lady boss who had been a trending topic that day. The person in the trending topic was from a screenshot of a big screen, so it was a bit distorted. Therefore, Lisa didn't recognize her at first glance. Looking at the girl in front of her now, wasn't this the dimpled lady boss from that day? Oh my God, she had actually been scouted by Chun Mao's company, and by the boss's wife in person. Could something this good, like a pie falling from the sky, really happen to an ordinary person like her? Lisa was so excited she became incoherent. I definitely will. She wanted to say that she would definitely contact the agent. Sim Yuman nodded. Be sure to think it over carefully. After speaking, she glanced down at the time, stood up, and left. She was finding a pretty new talent for Mu Chao culture. Not signing Suya. Wei Bai worked overtime until after 9 in the evening before coming home. After arriving home, while eating the tomato noodle soup that classmate Xie had made for him, he listened to her talk about the Lisa matter. Classmate Xie took the initiative to scout new talent for Mu Chao culture. This was a first. Although classmate Xie didn't say it, Wei Bai felt it was definitely related to the Suya incident. Wei Bai had more or less guessed classmate Xie's little thoughts. If you don't sign Suya, I'll find you someone prettier and with more potential than Suya. I'm just not signing Suya. Wei Bai thought this must be classmate Xie's internal commentary. How cute. He was rather looking forward to the new talent classmate Xie had so carefully scouted. Scouting new talent is a skill. Someone you find beautiful might not be seen as beautiful by the audience. And even if the audience finds them beautiful, it doesn't mean they will be liked by the audience. According to the famous agent Chui Peng, whether someone can become popular is a kind of special aura that only the top-tier scouts or agents can discern. That's why Wei Bai basically never scouted new talent himself, because he understood his own aesthetic sense, which could be summarized as average. Likewise, he also understood classmate Xie's aesthetic sense, which could be summarized as extremely excellent. Therefore, he believed that classmate Xie would definitely not be any worse than a scout or an agent. The new talent discovered by classmate Xie would definitely become a hit. Has Lisa contacted Shui Yinxin? Wei Bai asked. Sim Yuman. Not yet, but I think she definitely will. Judging by the look in her eyes, she'll definitely make contact. Wei Bai, that's great. Next year's talent show from Goose Factory is for a girl group. If she starts training a year in advance, she'll have a better chance. As the two chatted about Lisa, Wei Bai brought up the matter of Lingxi. He had been busy at Lingxi all day, basically discussing the clinical trial. We've scheduled the clinical trial for the 22ND. It will be conducted at Hai University Affiliated Hospital, overseen by senior brother Liu Chong and his mentor, Professor Zheng Jing'a. I'm thinking about whether we should live stream the entire process. Sim Yuman was surprised by this idea. Live streaming is too risky. If it fails, Wei Bai thought for a moment and said, I believe that at this stage of Lingxi's development, an absolute failure is no longer possible. Sim Yuman considered it, her dimples showing faintly. That's not wrong. Would the patient be willing to be live streamed? She asked. Wei Bai nodded. The patients participating in the trial all signed up voluntarily and are very cooperative. Sim Yuman asked, what about Hai University Affiliated Hospital? Actually, the live broadcast was proposed by the first affiliated hospital of Haida University. We're the ones hesitating now, Wei Bai said with a smile. The first affiliated hospital of Haida University has always placed great importance on promoting medical innovation and academic exchange and cooperation. They even created a special program for it called Surgical Live Stream Moment. Sim Yuman remarked with a sigh, if it's successful, it will be the first live-streamed, non-invasive brain-computer interface clinical trial in Daxia. Although classmate Xie had only asked a few questions and offered no substantial advice, as they chatted, Wei Bai had already made up his mind to do the full live broadcast. Because in the process of talking with classmate Xie, he had sorted out his thoughts. The stars have aligned, he said. The stars have aligned. Sim Yuman blinked. Is there something I don't know? Wei Bai smiled. Brother Jiang told me the paper will be published on the 20th. This was a paper on the new biomaterial used by Lingxi, the source of the printed brain-computer interface technology. It was the culmination of several years of Jiang Xiang's painstaking research. Now, this paper was finally going to be published, and in one of the world's top-tier T-class journals at that. The publication of this paper was certain to cause a huge sensation in related fields. Conducting the clinical trial at this time would produce an unpredictable effect. Bye-bye. Were you using some suspense-building tactics while talking to me? Sim Yuman moved closer and asked in a low voice. Why else would you save something as important as the paper's publication for last? Wei Bai picked up his bowl and gulped down a few mouthfuls of the tomato soup base. It seems so. An occupational hazard. He had to be on guard. When it came to building suspense, Wei Bai had a talent for it. He did indeed care a great deal about building suspense, which was to say, marketing and promotion. He believed that for a technology or a company to develop, it had to step into the public eye. This was a characteristic of the era and an opportunity it provided. Classmates, yeah, I think the live broadcast is feasible, Wei Bai said. But the initial promotion for it must be done well. Xianyumen blinked. And what mischievous idea do you have now, classmate? Wei Bai, huh? How could it be a mischievous idea? It's clearly a brilliant one. After finishing a bowl of tomato soup noodles, Wei Bai felt completely refreshed. He didn't rest, but instead took his laptop and went into the study. It was almost 10 o'clock, but he had a new idea and needed to set up an online meeting with Jiang Xiang. A little over 10 minutes later, he ended the online meeting with Jiang Xiang and then pulled Shui Peng into a temporary one. This chat was much longer, and it wasn't until 11:30 that Wei Bai emerged from the study. Xianyumen had just finished her shower. Wrapped in a bath towel, she came out of the bathroom to see what looked like a very happy little turtle. You look like you're about to do something mischievous. Her small pear-shaped dimples showed as she smiled faintly. Wei Bai, how can marketing be considered mischievous? However, if you're willing, classmates, yeah, I could be doing something else mischievous right now. The next morning on Weibo, a Big V influencer named Brother Cha posted, "Got some news for everyone. The case with Jiang Xiang's ex-girlfriend has been decided. She was sentenced to 8 months. What did your Brother Cha say before? That PPT was ridiculously fake. Jiang Xiang was set up. A lot of people were privately cursing me out back then. What do you have to say now?" The moment this post was published, it sparked a huge amount of discussion. In less than a morning, it had already garnered over 5,000 comments. Brother Cha's news is definitely reliable. Looking at it this way, Jiang Xiang was really wronged. Sirs are right. The internet is not a lawless place. The perpetrator must pay the price. Damn, Jiang Xiang is ruthless. The woman who was with him for several years, he just sends her to prison like that. To the person above, they should build a statue of you on Mount Amei. The Xiaoying PPT incident had previously caused a massive sensation, and its twists and turns had left a deep impression on many netizens. Now, upon learning that Xiaoying had actually been sentenced, the enthusiasm of the melon-eating masses soared, and they hailed it as a great victory for justice. Many marketing and news accounts reposted Brother Cha's Weibo post. At 12 p.m., Lu Chang also reposted it, adding the comment, "To add a point, in addition to the 8 months, she also has to compensate Lingxi for economic losses." Lu Chang's repost confirmed the authenticity of Brother Cha's news. In an instant, Jiang Xiang's name was on the hot search list again. And right below this hot search topic, another one followed closely. Hashtag first live broadcast of a non-invasive brain-computer interface clinical trial in Dasha hashtag chapter 501. What counts as failure? Out of respect for the hot search, the melon-eating masses clicked on it to see what it was about. With a closer look, the netizens realized that this live stream was for the clinical trial of Lingxi, a product from Jiang Xiang's company. The test subject had been a quadriplegic for 3 years due to a spinal cord injury from a car accident. During the experiment, the patient would wear Lingxi to collect brainwave signals, which would then control devices like an intelligent prosthetic limb and rehabilitation training equipment. Netizens had seen similar technology in the news, but to collect brainwave signals and control external devices just by printing some conductive ink on the head, without the need for craniotomy, isn't that a bit outrageous? It's a collaboration with Haida University affiliated hospital. It should be reliable then, right? Besides the fact that they dare to live stream, it must mean they're confident. The stream is on the 22ND. I'll follow it and see what it's all about. That evening, Jiang Xiang and Yu Heguang were slurping noodles while scrolling through news on Weibo. In just a day, the news that the Lingxi clinical trial would be live-streamed in its entirety had spread across the internet. The public's reaction was unexpectedly enthusiastic, with discussions raging. Yu Heguang remarked, "I really didn't expect this to get so much attention. It's made everyone at Haida affiliated nervous. They held an emergency meeting to upgrade the plan." As the person in charge of the clinical trial, Lu Chang is a nervous wreck. I saw him this afternoon searching for how to act more natural in front of a camera. Jiang Xiang scrolled through the discussions on his own Weibo, feeling a sense of wonder. Yesterday, when Weibo had a meeting with me and suggested releasing the news about Wang Ying's sentencing, I was a bit hesitant. I felt it was a private matter and shouldn't be overly discussed. But he told me that netizens might not care about a live stream of a non-invasive brain-computer interface experiment, but they would definitely be interested in this kind of private affair. He said we could use the opportunity to draw attention to Lingxi and build hype for the live stream on the 22ND. I never expected the level of attention to be this high, Jiang Xiang mused. Without this, the live stream would probably only be noticed by people in the medical and brain-computer interface fields. Yu Heguang was very worried. With so much attention, what if it fails? Jiang Xiang smiled. Then we can only succeed. Failure is not an option. Yu Heguang, that's easy to say. Jiang Xiang. Yesterday, Wei Bai and I were discussing the possibility of failure, and he asked me, what constitutes failure? I thought about his question carefully and had an epiphany. With Lingxi's development to this day, we can say that failure in the absolute sense is no longer possible. When Lingxi is printed on the patient's head, the worst-case scenario is that signal collection becomes unstable due to individual differences and environmental factors. But we are certain that it will never be like traditional electrodes, where you can't receive any signal at all. So, in terms of experimental results, we will definitely be successful. It's just that we ourselves need to pursue a more absolute success to overcome the instability caused by physiological factors and by signal collection and processing. These are things we need to keep working on. Yu Heguang's eyes lit up as he listened. Senior, hearing you say that, I think I'll be able to get some sleep these next few days. He understood. What their team considered failure was completely different from failure in the public's eyes. In the public's view, as long as the technology was successfully demonstrated, it was a success. But in their team's eyes, even the slightest error was considered a failure. In reality, based on public expectations, this live-streamed experiment could only succeed, not fail. Yu Heguang felt a sense of relief. When I heard about the live stream last night, I couldn't sleep at all. Jiang Xiang smiled. You still need to be on your game and strive for perfection. Yu Heguang gave a wry smile. Senior, after this experiment is over, I have to take a vacation. 5 days. At least 5 days, no less. Jiang Xiang laughed. Well, you're the one who approves the leave, so it's your call. Yu Heguang put on a pained expression. I have so much work on my plate. How can I possibly take 5 days off? 3 days. I'll definitely give myself a 3-day break when this is over. In her air-conditioned room, Xiao Ying loves cherries, ate watermelon while scrolling through Weibo, her heart itching with excitement. Today, Jiang Xiang and Lingxi were trending again. Who would have known? Jiang Xiang's partner, the secret boss behind Lingxi, is also Chun Mao's boss, and he's only a freshman in college. He'll only be a sophomore after summer break. This feeling of I know something you don't, who gets it? Xiao Ying loves cherries scrolled through the discussions under the related posts and found a few scattered comments from people in the know. Anyone watch Supernova Training Camp? That handsome guy Chun Mao video chatted with at the end is Jiang Xiang's partner. Chun Mao's boss is also Lingxi's boss, and he's a college student? This is too surreal, isn't it? Everyone at Haida knows about the alumni story Lingxi chapter featuring Jiang Xiang and Weibo. Just go to Haida's official Weibo and see for yourself. Xiao Ying loves cherries, looked at these comments and liked each one fiercely. She felt a sense of satisfying resonance. Unfortunately, these comments didn't spread or generate widespread discussion. Otherwise, she would have been even more thrilled. Seeking a sense of validation, Xiao Ying loves cherries started a heated chat with her best friend. Xiao Ying, will Weibo be on the live broadcast that day? He's so handsome. Yinzi, stop. Who's fan of you, really? Xiao Ying, I'm definitely a fan of the entire Mu Chao culture family. I'm a fan of everyone in their company. Yinzi, you're a fan of Chui Peng? Xiao Ying, Chui Peng is an exception. Yinzi, do you think Lingxi printing is reliable? It seems so mysterious. Xiao Ying, what era are we living in? AI could be your boyfriend and chat with you, and you still find this mysterious? This is called technological advancement. Bestie, seriously, if it really succeeds, Is it possible for Minmin to pull herself together again? Seeing this message, Xiao Ying fell silent. Tao Min was their university classmate. The three of them had formed a deep friendship during their university years. In their junior year, Tao Min began to show symptoms of ALS, gradually losing her motor skills. Now, even her ability to speak is deteriorating. They had tried many ways to help and comfort Tao Min, but with little effect. Now, Tao Min was even unwilling to see them and no longer accepted their calls. The thought of Tao Min weighed heavily on Xiao Ying's heart. If Lingxi really worked, could Tao Min use brain-computer signals to control her computer and phone to communicate with others? Xiao Ying, let's wait and see the live broadcast on the 22ND. Yinzi, if Lingxi works, let's go find Minmin together. Xiao Ying, okay. Xiao Ying, my mom even held Weibo when he was a baby. I can definitely get in touch with him. Because of Tao Min, Xiao Ying paid even more attention to Lingxi. Throughout the 14th, she was reading news reports about brain-computer interfaces and Lingxi. She had previously only read the second part of the alumni story, but now she caught up on Jiang Xiang's first part as well. She also read Lu Chang's Weibo post titled, "Jiang Xiang owes me 3 years of salary," and browsed through the Weibo accounts of Lu Chang, Jiang Xiang, and Weibo. Lu Chang was a comedian, while Jiang Xiang's and Weibo's Weibo accounts were filled only with content related to Lingxi. Seeing this, Xiao Ying felt a little jealous. Mu Chao Culture was also Weibo's company, so why hadn't he posted a single related Weibo? It seemed that Weibo's energy was more focused on Lingxi. Thinking about it, it made sense. One was an entertainment company, while the other was related to the quality of life for many people, and it could be said, the hope of many families. It was understandable that Weibo would put more effort into Lingxi. However, Xiao Ying was a seasoned fan, very sensitive to the clues revealed in these simple Weibo posts. She thought that this account, which was mutually followed with Lu Chang, should be Weibo's work account for Lingxi. So, did Weibo also have a work account for Mu Chao Culture? This thought flashed through her mind, and Xiao Ying didn't pay much attention to it. Until a day later, she saw Weibo's name on the hot search. Hashtag Weibo Jiang Xiang, hashtag Mu Chao Culture Lingxi, hashtag Boss Chun Mao, hashtag. Xiao Ying held her phone, looked at the hot search, and let out a long sigh. She knew it. This kind of thing was bound to be on the hot search sooner or later. Weibo was famous. He had anticipated his fame. He originally thought that he would be exposed after the live connection with Chun Mao during the Supernova Creation Camp finals. Unexpectedly, the exposure came a little later than he had anticipated. However, being exposed at this time had a better effect. The timing was perfectly sandwiched between the Supernova Training Camp finals and a Lingxi clinical trial live broadcast, which could smoothly transfer the attention from the former to the latter. After all, anyone who frequented the internet knew how terrifying the celebrity effect was. Netizens might not care about brain-computer interfaces or new material applications, but when it was connected to Chun Mao, the effect was completely different. The more incredible and unrelated it seemed, the greater the public outcry it would cause. The exposure of Weibo's name was a gradual process. When the hot search appeared and its popularity continued to climb, it represented the peak of netizens' desire for gossip. Weibo was completely famous. Damn, Chun Mao and Jiang Xiang's boss is the same person? This is too big of a crossover. After watching Haida's alumni story, Weibo's speech and logic are superb. I've never seen anyone more outstanding in real life. He's only a freshman. It's incredible. How could a young kid have such ability? Sigh, another privileged person.